With Thanksgiving just around the corner, there's a holiday buzz in Boiling Springs as Gardner-Webb looks to close out the regular season with something to be thankful for. The Running Bulldogs enter today chasing their first 8-win season since 2003 and look to keep their playoff hopes alive as they welcome the Leathernecks of Western Illinois on this regular season finale Saturday across the OVC. And hello, everyone. Alongside Bryson Burns, I'm Ford Martin. Thanks for joining us. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Bryson, Gardner-Webb's hoping to be thankful for another trip to the FCS playoffs here, but it all starts with the win. That's step one. Step two is they need a lot of help across the country today.
Now, as you said, some games both in and out of conference definitely have to bounce their way. But if you're Gardner-Webb, you just have to focus on the here and now. You can only focus on this game ahead of you. And this Western Illinois team, they've really gained some momentum over these last few weeks as well. So you got to focus on that if you're Gardner-Webb. And if you finish the season 8-4, at least you're put in the conversation to get into the FCS playoffs.
Well, Western Illinois has won 2 of their last 3 games. As we look to the Leathernecks, who you got your eye on today?
Well, Markel Holman has looked fantastic in the offensive backfield this season for Western Illinois. Currently second in the OVC Big South on rushing yards, was also the Offensive Player of the Week for the OVC Big South 2 weeks ago against Lindenwood. Had over 170 rushing yards and a touchdown run in that one. The St. Francis transfer has looked really good for Western Illinois this year.
As we look to Gardner-Webb, you look at Josiah Harris, had a big game last week. What makes him so good?
Oh, well, he was the Defensive Player of the Week in the conference for that. 3 interceptions all in the first half against Tennessee State. He was locked down in terms of that defensive backfield. He's just such a great DB for Gardner-Webb, and he was the main reason why Gardner-Webb was able to win that game. You know, turnovers and field position really helped out the Running Bulldogs in that game in Nashville, and now Gardner-Webb, because of that, is one step closer to potentially going to the FCS playoffs. If they were to get to the FCS playoffs, it'd be the 3rd time in the past 4 years they did that. So this is a Gardner-Webb football program that is definitely looked very strong across the OVC Big South these last couple of years.
It is the second all-time meeting between Gardner-Webb and Western Illinois. Gardner-Webb fell to Western Illinois last year for 28-45. As things are set to kick off, Gardner-Webb will receive Anthony Lowe back to kick this one off. And make the Antonio Chutta for Western Illinois will kick this one away. It's the regular season finale on a 75-degree afternoon from Boiling Springs. Great crowd on hand, and we are underway from Boiling Springs. And this won't be a touchback into the end zone. Anthony Lowe will get that one and let that one roll back. And now we will see Cole Pennington make his way out here, making his 6th start of the season.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, the quarterbacks for Gardner-Webb this season. You know, Nate Hampton started the first 6 games after winning the quarterback battle in the preseason, but then was out for a couple of games, and that forced Cole Pennington into the starting role. And because of that, he's actually taken the starting role here in the last half of the season. Has looked very good so far this year. Also had a few starts when he was at Marshall before getting to Gardner-Webb. And, of course, the son of NFL quarterback Chad Pennington as well. He's done a really nice job of leading this offense and has gotten better week after week.
Nate Hampton still nursing that shoulder injury as he is dressed this afternoon, but head coach Chris Reiser told us earlier this week doesn't expect him to be available for the game, at least coming in and throwing the football. First down run up the middle, a gain of 1 yard for Holmes. They go right back. He keeps the rock, and once again, doesn't really get much right there. Something we saw similar to that start versus SEMO, where Holmes was they gave him the ball a lot, but just could not break through for that long one.
And it took a while in that SEMO game to really get opened on the run game. Now, Quayshawn Holmes, currently 16th in the FCS himself in terms of total rushing yards, actually leading the conference in that category. So we got number 1 Holmes versus number 2 Holman here today. We've got some great running backs here for both Gardner-Webb and WIU.
Here's a 3rd and long. Pennington's going to send this one. That's too far behind. Anthony Lowe had to reach back and grab it. He got a hand on it, but that one fell incomplete, and that was nearly picked off there on the tip.
Yeah, Pennington threw that one behind Lowe, and Lowe was open. Now, it's going to be interesting to look on the potential replay forward because it looked like the referee may have actually been in the way a little bit there and kind of thrown off Anthony Lowe. And so that could have definitely changed the outcome of it as well. But ultimately, if you're Pennington, you got to put that one on target and not throw it behind.
So this will bring out Brady Braun, who leads the nation in yards per punt. He will take this one off and will send it deep, high spiral. Back to receive this one. And going to fair catch that one is Miles Cox.
Gardner-Webb, they have two good punters in both Dorr and Braun. As he said, Braun leading the country in yards per punt, but Dorr, they like to use him in a lot more short yardage punt situations, and he does a good job of pinning the opponent deep. And so special teams is going to be a big part of today's game. And Gardner-Webb, they have both those two punters and Charlie Villarreal, who's been the conference special teams player of the week multiple times, especially had that 48-yard game winner against Charleston Southern a couple weeks ago.
So here comes Kason Carswell, the true freshman coming out of Mason High School. Make another start. He has been spectacular here as they shovel that one out up to about the 30-yard line. Maybe gets an extra yard on top of it to the 31. But what a start here the last few weeks for Kason Carswell and what he's been able to accomplish.
Yeah, he has actually started in the back half of the season for WIU, yet despite that is already third in the conference in touchdown passes with 14. Also was named to the Jerry Rice Award watch list, which goes to the best freshman in the FCS. And so he has looked phenomenal this year for the Leathernecks. And if he stays with Western Illinois, that's certainly a great foundation to have for your offense in the future.
Making fifth career start this afternoon. Sim Holman in motion, gives that one up the middle, spins off a tackler, able to make his way as Williams, and gets to right about the 34-yard line. So short pickup, but a yard to go here coming up for the Leathernecks.
Holman, another good transfer player for Western Illinois. You know, in the age of the transfer portal, every team's going to have dozens of transfers on their roster, but Holman was a great player at St. Francis, which was actually second in the NEC last year in touchdown runs with 6. Also solid time at Lackawanna College, a JUCO team back in 2023.
3rd and 1 from the 34. Look to get the first down of the day for either side with 13:09 to go here in the first. They're going to give it to Holman, and looks like he may have lost the football on that exchange. And Leathernecks seem to say that they have fell on top of it, and they have. But it's some miscommunication there in the backfield, Holman and Carswell.
Yeah, it looked like kind of an option play there, and both the running back and the quarterback were kind of confused as to who should take it. And yeah, he just kept holding on to the ball a little bit too long there, and that's just a mistake by Carswell. You just got to go ahead and decide right away whether to go ahead and give it or just keep it yourself. If you keep it in the gut too long there, then stuff like that can happen.
Anthony Lowe back to receive this one here. He catches it right at the 20. He's going to take it back. Sidesteps his way around. Not many blockers there in front. A swarm of yellow jerseys there all around him coming up there with that tackle.
Penalty back at the line of scrimmage. We'll see what that is here in a second. Anthony Lowe, though, had a really good kickoff return to begin the game last week against Tennessee State. And now this is a Western Illinois team that gets a lot of touchbacks on their kickoffs, but they're going to have to really handle Anthony Lowe both in terms of kick returns and punt returns.
And it's going to be a holding call against Western Illinois, so would expect them to add that to the end of the run. Couple 3-and-outs to start this one. We're tied at 0, 12-14 to go on a perfect Saturday afternoon in Boiling Springs. Welcome back here to Boiling Springs to take a look at what's at stake right now for Gardner-Webb and UT Martin to be able to make the FCS playoffs right here. A lot needs to go in the direction of Gardner-Webb to be able to do that again, Bryson.
Yeah, they certainly really cannot afford UT Martin to win today's game against Tennessee Tech. Now, the Skyhawks have taken an early 7-0 lead in that one against the Golden Eagles. Still a lot of football to play there in Cookeville, Tennessee. But if UT Martin gets the auto bid and Tennessee Tech is an at-large, that's going to narrow Gardner-Webb's path significantly.
Screen pass. That one is going to be called across the 40 to about the 44. Great grab there by Adopte, who did not have a catch last week.
And yeah, he's definitely been an interesting receiver for Gardner-Webb. Actually had a good season last year, was a field steal 4th-team freshman All-American, and so he's definitely a great second-string receiver to have if you're the running Bulldogs.
They'll fake it to Holmes. Pennington's going to try to escape. A flag comes in. Pennington is hit right at the line of scrimmage. Initially there is, right, they're going to be hit there by Bola. And once again, we'll hear from Brandon McCain and his officiating crew once again.
Decent chance that this one comes back if I had to guess here. But it's interesting. We talked to Cole Pennington earlier this week, Ford, and he talked about how he's a lot more comfortable running with the ball, keeping it himself, and that was an example of it there.
And we do apologize not being able to pick up our referee mic here for this afternoon, but it is going to be on Gardner-Webb.
And it looks like Western Illinois actually declined it, so it's going to bring up a third down for the running Bulldogs.
Interesting call there, being a 3rd and 3 now. Pennington, who looks left, pump fakes, he's going to throw this one, intended for Adopte again, and had the grab initially, but either way, it was going to be out of bounds, so not able to get a foot in there. So we'll bring up once again a 4th down. The Gardner-Webb offense staying on the field, but now they walk off.
This Western Illinois defense, they're doing what they need to do right now, and we saw that last week against SEMO as they actually held the Red Hawks pretty well in terms of their defense. It's just that things kind of fell apart there as the game went on for the Leathernecks.
I mean, Bryson, you look at this Western Illinois team, they've played really good football despite their record. Every game outside of the Tennessee Tech game, they have been within one possession, so just haven't been able to finish. End over end punt right there in traffic and caught right there at the 21.
Yeah, neither team can really get its solid footing on terms of offense right now. It's going to be interesting to see which team really takes control of this game here in the first quarter.
Western Illinois offense on the other side. We're tied at 0 as you're watching the Big South OVC Conference on ESPN+. Tied up at 0 here from Boiling Springs in this regular season finale across the OVC. Still one more week of FCS football next week. A few other teams that have to finish up their season, but at least for both of these sides, this is the finale. But Carson Carswell trying to end that season off to a good start, and he's had a pretty good season, as we talked about there earlier, Bryson.
Yeah, it's just been a fantastic freshman quarterback for Western Illinois. He's been named the Conference Freshman of the Week multiple times in October, and he's really stepped up to the plate well.
Gardner-Webb's defense there stops him right in his tracks as Holman, and not able to get anything, actually lost a couple yards.
Well, both you and I saw how strong this up front is for Gardner-Webb on the defensive side. They had 11 sacks 2 weeks ago against SEMO, which was a program record for Gardner-Webb. And, I mean, you look at those guys, Antonio O'Berry, Robert Holtz, especially those defensive ends there. I mean, they have really done well, especially these last couple of weeks.
Held opponents to under 100 yards rushing in back-to-back weeks. 10:42 to go. Here's Carswell. He'll step back under pressure. Carswell trying to escape. He's got Robert Holtz approaching him fast and had to get rid of that. And that's a scary sight right there for a young freshman with Robert Holtz chasing you down right there trying to get the sack.
I mean, Robert Holtz has been one of the best defensive ends in the conference right now. 3rd in the conference in TFLs with 15.5. Also 10th in the FCS in terms of total sacks with 10. I mean, he just does such a great job of beating his offensive tackles. And you're going to have to account for him today if you're Western Illinois. And you may have to give your tackles some help to really try to starve off Robert Holtz.
A 3rd and 12 from the 19. Got to get to the 31. Going to throw a pitch out on a screen. Holman there gets some yards across the 25. Pushes the pile forward. And what a play there to get the first down of the game. Western Illinois moves the chains.
I love the play call right there by Western Illinois. You know, they're a pass-heavy team, but you also know that, okay, Gardner-Webb's going to drop back in coverage here on this 3rd and long, so let's just go ahead and dump it out to our running back there in the open field, and it really worked out for them well. And so, nice play call by the Leathernecks. And again, this isn't all it's going can really go on fire there, especially if Carr get comfortable in the pocket.
Carswell there. Another screen. Holman tackled right at the line of scrimmage and maybe fought back to the line right there. So they are going to keep him in no gain. So we'll bring up a 2nd and 10.
Holman did have 21 carries for 118 rushing yards last time out. Also had 70 receiving yards at a touchdown grab there against SEMO. And despite really the outcome of that SEMO game, there were times throughout that game against the Red Hawks where Western Illinois looked really strong, especially in that first half as they jumped out to a pretty decent early lead.
Going Wildcat here now. Holman takes this one up across the line of scrimmage and right to about the 35, so not much of a pickup there, and it's going to bring up, once again, another 3rd and long.
I think the key for Western Illinois today is to really be successful on a lot of the short and quick game passing, because this is an O-line that may struggle a little bit against Robert Holt and Antonio O'Barry, and they do have some plays in their playbook where they can throw the ball quickly on either some short patterns or maybe some screen routes. And so if they can be consistent at that, then I think that's going to allow your offense to really open up.
To try and keep this drive alive, need to get to the 43. 3rd and 8. Carzo, another screen. That one's tipped at the line of scrimmage. Great play by Antonio O'Barry, tipping that one, as that one, I believe, was intended there on the far side to Davis, and it's going to bring up a 4th down.
Yeah, that's just O'Barry just coming off the line of scrimmage super fast and just being very aware. He was trying to get to the outside shoulder there, and he did a good job. Tyler Sulzberger, the freshman there at right tackle, and so he's going to have his hands full today. And a great job by O'Barry realizing that the screen was going to that side and getting his hands up to swat it down.
Luke Drogemeller now to punt this one away. The junior from Cumming, Georgia, as this one ball bounces right about the 23 and takes a friendly Western Illinois roll down to the 9-yard line. Nice punt right there near about in Coffin Corner.
I mean, both these teams have really good special teams guys. You know, Chada is also a really good kicker for Western Illinois and has won the conference special teams player of the week on multiple occasions. And then you have a guy like that who's able to really pin an opponent deep. And so I think really special teams for both Gardner-Webb and Western Illinois is going to be a key point today, and it could really turn the tide, especially if one side gets hot.
Taking a look there at our Gardner-Webb offensive starters. Cole Pennington and this Gardner-Webb offense looking for their first down of the game. They've gone 3 and out the previous 2. Going to get that one right up the middle to Greasock. He gets his first carry of the day and a nice gain on 1st down to about the 14.
And we've talked about it for that's just a fantastic 1-2 punch there in terms of Carson Greasock and Quayshawn Holmes. They both really work well with each other, and Greasock also 4th in the conference right now in yards per carry, averaging nearly 6.5 yards every time he rushes with the football.
There's Anthony Lowe there in motion. Give it to Greasock again. Greasock moves the pile to the 19 right there at the marker. Going to see what the spot's going to be, and they're going to motion for a 1st down, the first time for Gardner-Webb.
And it's interesting, you know, Greasock, one of those Tiffin University transfers where Coach Chris Reister comes from, he really brought a lot of talent over from that Division II school. You got Greasock, you got Anthony Lowe, you got both Holt and O'Barry at the defensive ends. There's just a lot of really good talent on this Gardner-Webb team. You can definitely see that Coach Reister is trying to replicate the success he had at Tiffin here at Gardner-Webb.
Play action. That one's caught right there and hit immediately at the 15. So a good pickup there. They're actually going to move him back to the 14 right there. So a good pickup there on 1st down once again. I don't believe that was Jack Reynolds.
Yep. Brother, actually, Chris was a 4-year starter at Charlotte and actually holds a lot of passing records for the 49ers. And Chris also saw some playing time in the CFL. And Jack staying local as well here at Gardner-Webb, just about hour 15 minutes west of Charlotte.
Caught right there and immediately at the 30-yard line, and that's going to be at the marker. And they're going to motion for a 1st down once again. So Jack Reynolds again with another nice catch.
I don't think he was expecting it there, because
he's surprised that he turned the head around.
He kind of looked surprised there when he turned his head, but you know, nice reflexes at the last moment, and that'll go ahead and move the chains again for Gardner-Webb. And again, just getting Pennington comfortable with a lot of these short routes, that's going to help the passing game for Gardner-Webb as this game goes on. And if you get the passing game going, then that later on, that's just going to open things up in the run game for Holmes and Greasock.
Back-to-back first downs here. First down. Pennington going to load that one up. That one's going to be caught and dropped. He had it in his hands, was Borders on the far side, and a wide open catch. Just has that one go through his hands. A missed opportunity for the running Bulldogs.
A rare drop there by Caleb Borders, or really any of the three starting wide receivers for Gardner-Webb. The ball was a little off target, made Borders kind of sprint over there to get it, but that's still one that you should definitely catch at the D1 level.
See him right there at the top of your screen at the 30-yard line. So it brings up a 2nd and 10 from the 29. Western Illinois showing blitz. They're going to give it to Greasock. Greasock escapes one tackler, and he'll have about a pickup of about 3.
And that's one of the problems when you don't really move the ball there on first down is you're behind schedule. And so if you're running on second down, you need a really good pickup to avoid a 3rd and long situation. And again, it's just every single down matters. And, you know, Gardner-Webb a little bit behind schedule right now because of that drop ball earlier by Borders.
3rd and 7 from the 32. 4 receivers on the far side. Pennington doesn't like what he sees initially. He's going to scramble for it. He gets to the 35, and he's tackled forward to the 36. So once again, bring a 4th down for Gardner-Webb.
Well, you know, both these teams coming into this, I thought this was going to be kind of an offensive game. You know, Western Illinois has a really good passing game, and Gardner-Webb is second in the conference in both total offensive yards and total scoring. But it's just really been a defensive slugfest. Neither team has been able to find in what they want to do on offense.
Bring out Brady Braun for the 3rd time today, and he'll punt this one away. This one has a little more distance and a tight spiral. That's caught immediately right there. Miles Cox catches that one and maybe gets a yard or 2 right there after the punt. Another TV timeout coming our direction here. We're tied up at 0. Western Illinois and their offense trying to get it going here and get Western Illinois the upset here in Boiling Springs. Gardner-Webb put together a nice drive, a couple back-to-back first downs here, but not able to capitalize. But a couple missed opportunities so far for Gardner-Webb this afternoon. One here by Cole Pennington here, just too far behind Anthony Lowe that we saw there earlier. And then here just not too long ago, we had that long pass that for Borders that was not able to capitalize.
Yeah, they've just been kind of off here today in the passing game. You know, a couple missed opportunities here and there, trying to give it to Adopte there on the sideline, threw it a little bit too far out of bounds. And also good coverage for Western Illinois as well. And then that one where Caleb Borders should have been a first down catch, just wasn't able to haul it in. And, you know, those things add up, and they need to really clean up that passing game.
Long, deep ball here on the near side. That one's too far in front, intended there for Damari Davis, the guy who leads the team in touchdowns right now for the Leathernecks.
It's going to be really interesting to see how Gardner-Webb really defends this pass game, because at times they have struggled in the defensive secondary, but that was more so in the first half of the season. These last couple of games, they've done a really good job of cleaning it up in the defensive secondary, especially in that game against Tennessee State. 4 interceptions in the first half for the running Bulldogs, and so that's definitely something that they've improved upon, and we'll see if they can keep it up here today.
2nd and 10. Going to give to Holman on the far side. He gets that one across the 25 and falls forward to about the 30. They're going to mark him down at the 29, so a nice gain there on 2nd down. And once again, though, however, it's going to bring up a 3rd and long again.
And Western Illinois, they really treat Holman as a workhorse there in the offensive backfield. Their second-string running back, Brinston Williams, only averaging about 2 carries per game. And you can rely upon a workhorse like that in the backfield if you throw the ball as much as Western Illinois does. But just something to keep in mind, that run game may slowly deteriorate as today goes on.
3rd and 6 from the 29. Carswell going to throw a slant. That one's caught, hit immediately, but stays on his feet. That'll be enough to move the chains down to the 41-yard line. And a good grab there by the tailback again in Holman.
Yeah, just a really nice job there keeping the football and holding on to it, because he took a shot there by Kahari Haynes. And, I mean, Haynes has been a monster there in terms of that linebacking core. The App State transfer has done a good job for Gardner-Webb, so an even better job there by the Leathernecks to go ahead, get the catch, and move the chains.
Holman will keep the rock, and who's really been the cowbell for this Western Illinois offense this season.
I mean, he has just looked really good for them. Currently 8th in the conference in terms of touchdown runs with 6. Also 3rd on the team in catches, actually, with 35. So they use him a lot in the pass game as well. And so, he's going to get it on the ground a lot today, but they're definitely going to try to get it to him through the air as well. And it just shows he's a great all-around athlete that they're just trying to get him the ball any way they can.
Had 5 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown last week. Carswell there on the slant, and that one is calling the out route, to about midfield. That one is called, and again, the Leathernecks will move the chains.
Yeah, Tristan Duncan on the catch. 40th catch of the season for Western Illinois. And it's interesting because we haven't really seen Damari Davis too much yet for the Leathernecks, and he is really the catalyst there in their passing game.
Carswell goes top. Oh, wide open. All alone is the tight end, Lanier. Lanier off to the races, and he scores. Touchdown, Western Illinois. Brandon Lanier, the senior, was all alone. No one was covering him, and the tight end finds pay dirt.
Transfer from Austin P, and he has definitely taken his talent to Western Illinois well. Just wide open there, just a breakdown in coverage. No one really accounting for the tight end that came off of the line of scrimmage. His 3rd touchdown catch of the year, had one against Lindenwood and Valparaiso. And so, strong start here by the Leathernecks, and if you're Gardner-Webb, can't afford to lose this game, and so you cannot take this team lightly.
A 49-yard score. The extra point is good. And Western Illinois getting on the board first. And his 3rd touchdown of the season for the senior from Cincinnati, Ohio there, Bryson.
Yeah, again, just no one counting for him there, and those defensive backs kind of reacted a little too late. It looked like Gardner-Webb may have brought a blitz as well, so that allowed Lanier to get open. And they have 2 really good tight ends in both him and Alex Williams, both of whom have Division I experience before coming to Western Illinois. And that's just another part of that passing game that Gardner-Webb's going to have to account for. But for Gardner-Webb, you've definitely caught Western Illinois kind of at the worst possible time for yourself. As you said, they kind of started off the season pretty sloppy, but then they got some good wins against Tennessee State and Lindenwood and nearly got the win last week against SEMO. And so this Western Illinois team is better than the 3-8 record they come into today with.
So Western Illinois strikes first, and they will kick this one away with 2:46 to go. What a start for the Leathernecks. And Gardner-Webb, as you talked about there, Bryson, as we came back from our previous break, need to try and get this passing offense moving.
And it's kind of there right now for Gardner-Webb. As we saw, a few of those were just drops and a ball thrown behind Anthony Lowe and a straight-up drop by Caleb Borders. And so you're getting your receivers open. It's just the timing and the rhythm is off right now for Gardner-Webb.
This one is kicked end over end at about the 4. Anthony Lowe taken out. He took it back 52 yards last week. Anthony Lowe across the 25-30, has some space. Great return for Anthony Lowe to the 45, and we'll see if that will spark this Gardner-Webb offense.
And if you're that special teams unit for Western Illinois, you can't allow Anthony Lowe to get an open space right there. Had some really good blocks, and actually a kickoff man for Western Illinois kind of tripped up in his lane. That allowed Anthony Lowe to bounce it to the outside. Got a really nice block as well from Christian Van, the other return man for Gardner-Webb, as you're going to look on the replay here. See that player trip up, and then Van, nice block on the outside to allow Anthony Lowe to bounce it out, and was able to go ahead and give Gardner-Webb some good field position. Pretty similar kickoff return to the one that you just referenced that he had last week at Tennessee State.
Third longest return of the season for Anthony Lowe. Holmes is back in the backfield. That one's called the slant by Adopte. Adopte, nice cut across the sideline. And now to Western Illinois territory as he gets past the 35 to the 34-yard line. So we talked about that spark there, Bryson, and right now Gardner-Webb is on the move.
And I know I've talked about this in previous games, but Gardner-Webb is using those second-string receivers more and more as the season goes on, which makes sense. Cole Pennington practiced with them a lot in the second team at the beginning of the season, and it's allowing that passing game to really open up.
Quayshawn Holmes there on the carry. He'll get back to the line of scrimmage. no pickup here as we're just under 2 minutes to go left in the first. Gardner-Webb looking here once again for their 4th home win of the season on Senior Day at GWU.
That run game hasn't been there either for Gardner-Webb this afternoon. I know we talked about some of the missed opportunities in the pass game, but neither Holmes or Griesbach have been able to really open things up.
Pennington will step up. Great work trying to avoid it. Thought maybe he was going to try and run that right there as he tried to squeeze that to Chris Lofton. But that's going to fall incomplete. And Pennington told us he really considers himself a pocket passer, doesn't really like to take off, but he will if he needs to, and that's something I felt like Pennington really could have used a good of a pickup there, maybe could have got about 5 or 6 there.
And again, we kind of saw that 2 weeks ago against SEMO, had a long touchdown run in that one, and also scrambled out of the pocket a couple of times. But here we go, empty backfield now for Pennington.
3rd and 10, need to get to the 34, or excuse me, the 24. Pennington's going to throw, that one's caught, and going to get to the 29, so they're still going to be short. Now it's decision time to see if they want to trot Charlie Vierel out there to kick a long field goal, and they will do just that.
It was a heads-up play regardless there by Pennington. You know that Western Illinois is bringing the blitz, and you have that receiver there. And he took a shot, but he was able to complete it. And even though it doesn't give you a first down, it definitely puts it within Vierel's range.
Be a 46-yard field goal for Charlie Vierel. He's already hit from 48 so far this season in the game winner versus Charleston Southern. To get Gardner-Webb on the board. Vierel, that kick has the distance, and that kick is good. So Gardner-Webb and Charlie Vierel with a 46-yard field goal gets the running Bulldogs there on the board.
Yeah, really nice kick there by Vierel, and as we've talked about, Gardner-Webb has had some very strong special teams this year. Charlie Vierel now 15 of 21 on his field goals, and was actually the special teams player of the week in the OVC Big South last week after he was a perfect 3 of 3 on his field goals and his PATs at Tennessee State. And so he has looked very strong this year for Gardner-Webb, and even though he's faltered here and there for the vast majority of the season, he has definitely been the man there at the kicking spot for Gardner-Webb.
And again, the special teams player of the week right there as we take a look at our head coach and Chris Reiser, second season at Gardner-Webb, and really has changed this program coming in here. Obviously a bit of a disappointing year last year, but first year at the program. Really brought a brand new football team into this season. Obviously we saw what Nate Hampton, how he brought in, who started the season, FCS National Player of the Week in week 1. Pennington took over here in the second half, and he's really started to develop and turn into a really good QB, and now looking for their an 8-win season for the first time since 2003. On the take the kickoff to about the 15 and fall forward to about the 17. So that is where Western Illinois will set up shop.
Great coverage there by the Gardner-Webb kickoff team, but a little bit more on Coach Reiser. Had a phenomenal career when he was at Tiffin University, a record of 40-11 when he was there, led them to 3 conference titles, and thus was a 3-time conference coach of the year as well. Also was a fantastic quarterback when he played in college at Ohio Dominican, was the 2007 NAIA National Player of the Year, and had over 13,000 career passing yards and 120 touchdown throws by the time he was done at Ohio Dominican.
So 1st and 10 from the 17. Steps back. Didn't like what he saw initially there. Gardner-Webb is there to pick it right up. Didn't let Tristan Duncan go anywhere.
Great coverage there by Gardner-Webb. Really nice job. And, they have some athletes there, especially those wide receivers for Western Illinois. And so you're going to have to really swarm the football when they try to get them out into open space. And they did a good job of making sure there were multiple defenders there to make the play.
We'll see if they get another snap off here before the end of the first quarter or if they let it drain out with 5 seconds to go. And they're going to let the clock run out. So that's going to do it for the end of 15. It's 7-3 your score after a 49-yard touchdown by Lanier and the tight end. The senior gets Western Illinois on the board. Gardner-Webb answers. And Western Illinois' offense when we come back. 7-3 your score. Western Illinois leads the way, and Charlie Vero getting hyped after another long field goal, something he's done as of late, and nice little head bump there with his crew and celebrating there as they get Gardner-Webb on the board.
And he's gotten better really as the season has gone on as well. Now for his career, 21 of 30 on his field goals, has made a lot of kicks over 40 yards as well, career long of 50, and definitely good to see that Gardner-Webb special teams getting better week after week, because really that second week against Georgia Tech, they really struggled in that category, and it's just gotten better and better, and you need it to definitely be there if they're going to go to the FCS playoffs.
From the 15, Carswell, and hit, dropped immediately. There was Antonio O'Barry that was there, and just about as the ball was snapped, and it's going to be really hard to get by a guy like that when you're hitting the backfield just as they were handing it off.
Nearly escaped it there for a moment as well, but I mean, there was just a swarm of Gardner-Webb players there after O'Barry made the initial hit. And that run game for Western Illinois, despite how good Holman is, it just really has not been there for the Leathernecks here this afternoon. Only 13 rushing yards for them now.
3rd and 13. Need to get to the 27. Carswell run right. And once again, having O'Barry right in his face. So a great defensive drive by Antonio O'Barry. Gets his 13th quarterback hurry of the season, and he's been doing plenty of that here lately.
I mean, he's probably going to be an OVC Big South All-Conference selection, here in a couple of days. He has looked that good here this season. One of those Tiffin University guys as well, and was actually named a second-team All-GMAC player while he was there, but has just played fantastic here in Boiling Springs.
Anthony Lowe, right the 45, didn't call for a fair catch, and dropped immediately. Taking it right there in Western Illinois, not letting Anthony Lowe get anywhere there. Comes up a little slow there at the same time. 7-3 your score, 14-10 when we return. Gardner-Webb offense is Anthony Lowe coming up a bit slow. We'll find out here on the other side. 7-3 your score here. Gardner-Webb now having the ball on offense, but the last time these two teams faced off, a high-scoring game that we saw there in Illinois and Macomb.
Yeah, and it was actually a very close game going into the fourth quarter. It was a 28-28 tie, but Western Illinois is able to get a touchdown, then a strip sack, and then another quick touchdown, and that really put the game out of reach for Gardner-Webb last season.
Bit of a slower start to the scoring. Pennington's going to start this one. That one's caught by Chris Lofton and racked immediately there as a linebacker and Justin Buckner. But Lofton's able to hold on.
It may have been a little bit of a hospital pass right there as he took a shot as soon as he caught it, but still a nice job by Lofton holding it on. We do have an update now to give. Anthony Lowe is in the medical tent right now being checked on after he took that big hit on the punt return.
So once we do have an update on his status, we will share it here when we can. We have a stoppage here now on the field. And I believe they're going to might take another look to see if Lofton was able to hold on to that one, Bryson.
It's going to be interesting to see what the replay shows. May actually be looking at targeting as well. It's either that or potentially it being an incomplete pass, but here we go regardless.
One more time look as Lofton was and not able to see.
Yeah.
It depends on where that ball is on the other side. It appears as at least the Western Illinois players didn't see anything where that ball may have come loose as we see Anthony Lowe start to make his way out. That's a good sign with his helmet on and making his way toward the field with his helmet on. But the question is, got to wonder if we have another look that showed that at least on the other side that ball maybe just scraped the ground there, or if it might be a targeting.
Just can't really tell in terms of it hitting the ground from our angle that we were given there because his back was to the camera and was kind of blocking the vision of the ball. And we're going to take another look at it. Here's a little bit of a different angle. This may give us a better look of the ball. And again,
yeah,
just kind of
covering that camera there just a bit.
I think he catches it, though.
Well,
I mean,
I would imagine
yes.
if it was where it would have been close, we saw a couple of other necks there pointing that that ball would be incomplete.
Yes.
So it might be looking towards targeting possibly, so, but didn't really see anything there that would warrant that. But our head officials here in Brendan McCain is taking a look. But as of right now, 7-3 your score. If you're just joining us, Western Illinois had a long touchdown to their tight end that found himself open to the senior in Lanier on a 49-yard scamper. That was followed up in the following drive by a 46-yard field goal by Charlie Villarreal. So our official here, it looks to be if they reviewed there, and everything appears to be okay because they are going to keep the ball right at the 40-yard line, and Gardner-Webb once again into Western Illinois territory.
So it is indeed a catch and no targeting on the play, and so Gardner-Webb starting to really move the ball for the first time here this afternoon.
$13:37. Payton in the gun with Holmes to his left. They're going to give it to Holmes up the middle and able to break free after he was hit at the initial line of scrimmage and moves up to the 37-yard line.
It's been tough sledding right now in terms of the run game for Gardner-Webb. Just haven't really found much in terms of these holes opening up on the offensive line. But you got to think that eventually those things will start to open up as they keep pounding away at it. And if not that, then you got to think that Holmes or Greasock will eventually make a really good play in the backfield.
Ran over 100 yards in 3 of the last 4 games and dropped in the backfield. Western Illinois once again comes up and makes the tackle, and they have another sack there on Cole Pennington.
Just a good job right there by Western Illinois. And just really the main thing that they need to do this afternoon, at least one of them on defense, is to make it a very tough time for Pennington. And that was just a missed block there, really, by the offensive tackle.
And Bonner right there in the backfield.
Western Illinois, they have 21 sacks coming into today, 6th in the conference. And so they're not necessarily a fantastic team in terms of trying to run the football. And interesting here, looks like a wild Greasock formation, as we like to call it. Wild sock formation, as Greasock was in to take the direct snap there.
And interesting knowing that it's 3rd and 12 from the 42, and they are not in Charlie Villarreal range. Got to wonder if they're trying to go 2 plays here to send him up on a shorter 4th down, but a wildcat on 3rd and long is not something that you normally see, but either way, a timeout is called, so we'll see if that will switch things up for Chris Reiser and Tyler Johns in this offense.
It's interesting, too, for we really haven't seen Gardner-Webb take a super deep shot downfield. I mean, they kind of had Adopte on that corner route that they tried, but other than that, they haven't taken that deep ball to Chris Lofton like that they usually like to take or deep ball to Anthony Lowe.
So another timeout is taken. That was by Western Illinois. So this will take us to another timeout right here. While we'll take one with them. 7-3 your score. Western Illinois on top on a great and gorgeous day from Boiling Springs. Approaching for this Gardner-Webb offense to see if they're going to get in that man's range right there in Charlie Villarreal. They're not going to come back out in the Greasock Wildcat formation there once again. So Pennington's back out there with Holmes. A 3rd and 12. They need to get to the 30. And they're going to throw this one and taking this one back out. And going to take this one off and run. And a great pickup right there. And that's the 3rd-string quarterback in Ben Mauney from Shelby, North Carolina, coming in now here and get some snaps. And he'll come in for one. Pennington will come in for the second one. And got to imagine with the injury with Nate Hampton, who was that scrambling type of quarterback, Mauney comes in there and makes a nice pickup, but it does bring up a 4th down, and they're going to keep the offense out there.
And it is interesting because they have put Hampton in every now and again in these last couple of games in the running situation, but Mauney, a local kid as well, out of Shelby, North Carolina, played at nearby Burns High School.
Pennington is sacked back at the 45. They brought the blitz, and Pennington didn't have a chance. Western Illinois turnover on downs, and that's where they take over.
That's just a missed assignment somewhere up front, just considering how fast they got to him. And they really just brought the house and some of those O-linemen did get beat, but if they're bringing 6 or 7 or 8 guys like that for Western Illinois, you got to really do a better job as a quarterback to find your quick check down target to try to get the first down. And so Western Illinois, they've brought up tough blitz multiple times this game, and it's worked every time they've done it. And so I'd keep doing it if I were the Leathernecks.
Justin Buckner gets his 3rd sack on the season, as Pennington didn't have a chance. So after getting in Western Illinois territory, that is, they're not able to capitalize. So Western Illinois now, after a bit of a nice 5-yard dump off right there, they're in business here once again.
Looks like they found Miles Cox that time around, who's actually used primarily as a return man. And actually, they're going to go ahead and call it incomplete, it looks like.
So this will back things up here and put it back to the original line of scrimmage at the 43-yard line. So initially ruled a catch. The officials had a conversation, and they come back and say that is incomplete. So a 2nd and 10 from the 43. Carswell and the freshman, 6 for 11 for today for 80. And he'll add to it right here as that one is caught at the 49-yard line. It's a nice catch there made by Miles Cox.
Does hold on to it that time around. Cox actually a transfer out of Indiana Wesleyan, an NAIA program. And it's interesting. You look at both Gardner-Webb and Western Illinois. They got JUCO guys. They got D2 and D3 guys. They got NAIA guys. And I just think that shows that there's talent at any level of college football. And so definitely keep an eye out for that today. And just really as the seasons go on, you're going to find some diamond in the roughs there at some of those smaller schools.
Here's Carswell, pumps, and gives a Holman there on the screen, and nowhere to go. That Gardner-Webb defense sniffed it out, and they're going to bring up a 4th down for Western Illinois.
You know, outside of just that busted play that Western Illinois had with that touchdown pass to Lanier, this Gardner-Webb defense has actually been very locked down themselves here this afternoon. And it's just really that one play that threw things off, but just great coverage there. And there's our guy, Josiah Harris. Looks like he got the tackle there. And again, the reigning OVC Big South Defensive Player of the Week. Going to be hard to replicate his performance last week against TSU, but still a nice play there.
Well, he has a lot of work in the final 10 minutes to be able to make that happen. Anthony Lowe back there to catch that one, and fair call at the 10-yard line. So no contact this time for Lowe. He calls fair catch this time, and as where Gardner-Webb will set up shop on offense.
This has been a Gardner-Webb offense that has been pretty quiet here today. And it's interesting, Ford, if you look at that last game against TSU, that offense really stagnated there in the second half. And Gardner-Webb and TSU were actually even in terms of total yards. It was just turnovers and field position that allowed Gardner-Webb to really open things up. But
well, the defense really helped out.
Yes. The defense helped out last week, and they're definitely helping out this week for Gardner-Webb. But that offense has kind of slowed down here in these last couple of quarters of action for Gardner-Webb.
And Greasock, he's been one that has provided that spark offensively for Gardner-Webb on the ground. They're going to fake it to Greasock, throws on the far side. That one's caught by Adopte. He's hit, breaks the tackle, and still going across the 25, and then back out to about the 28-yard line. So Adopte, who really hasn't been involved very much in the Gardner-Webb offense, at least from a consistency standpoint, and now right here getting some catches in this first half.
Yes, but he has had some more receptions as the year has gone on, which is certainly good to see for Gardner-Webb.
Payton's going to throw this one deep, and that one's too far. No flags, and it's going to bring up a 2nd down.
I think he was trying to find Corey Jones there on the far sideline, and of course Jones, another transfer from Limestone University, a D2 school just across the state border that closed down last spring. And it's really interesting if you look at Gardner-Webb and some of their players, but also folks that work in the athletic department here. A lot of guys came over from Limestone University, and they've definitely provided a lot to Gardner-Webb here, and it's good to see, a lot of those players coming over and contributing to this program.
Had that 50-yard Hail Mary catch a couple weeks ago. That one's caught on the far side, and that is going to move the chains, finding Chris Lofton.
And again, Lofton is kind of your steady hand there in terms of your receiving core currently leading the conference right now in receiving yards, is probably going to get over that 800 mark on the season after today is over. Had a standout game actually against SEMO, 6 catches for 125 receiving yards last time here at Ernest Spangler Stadium.
Gardner-Webb goes no huddle on the dump off. Sheeter's there. Sheeter just lowers the shoulder across the 45. So Sheeter trying to get this Gardner-Webb tight end room more involved in this football game, trying to reciprocate or at least replicate what Western Illinois was able to do in that first half in that 49-yard touchdown by one of their tight ends in Lanier.
And they've definitely done that here in these past 2 weeks against SEMO and TSU. You know, their tight ends were just primarily used for run blocking purposes, but now they're starting to be involved in the passing game as well.
How about Greasock there? Escapes one tackler. Greasock off to the races across the sideline. Greasock, he's gone. Touchdown, Gardner-Webb. Carson Greasock, his 13th touchdown on the season.
Well, just a great run there by Greasock and a great job by the offensive line on the right side as well, giving him a huge hole. First of all, great job there by Pennington being able to bring in the high snap. Missed tackle there on the right side, and Greasock is the type of running back that will make you pay for a mistake like that, taking it all the way to the house in the first lead of the afternoon for Gardner-Webb. And man, what a nice run there. And we talked about how the run game just hadn't been there this afternoon, but Carson Greasock changes the narrative very fast.
A 54-yard touchdown by Carson Greasock that caps off a 5-play, 80-yard drive that took about a minute and 14 seconds. So we talked about it at the start of the drive when Carson Greasock was in for that first play, that he provides that spark offensively, and he was able to do it there once again.
Yeah, take a look at it again, and just a nice hold there on the right side. And again, those missed tackles. You have to give a shout out to the offensive line there, especially C.J. Dawson, the right guard, and another Tiffin guy, Tiffin running back making the touchdown, and a Tiffin offensive lineman making the block there to give Gardner-Webb 6. And also Will Fitzpatrick, the right tackle, and Luke Rector, the center. Pretty good job up front as well to go ahead and open it up on the right side.
That puts Greasock now at 4 rushes for 67 yards. And there's something about Carson Greasock playing Illinois teams. He had that 137-yard rushing performance versus Eastern Illinois, and now coming in here and having a solid start in the first half against Western Illinois.
I mean, he tore it up in that game against EIU just over a month ago, and they could not stop him on the ground.
This one's going to find its way into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback, and this will bring it out. But Carson Greasock there providing that spark for the running Bulldogs as they take their, as you said, their first lead on the afternoon.
And you know, there have been times this season where Gardner-Webb is kind of slow to start things. We saw that in the opener against Western Carolina. We've seen that in a few other games throughout the season. And you're going to have to overcome that if they do go to the playoffs here next week. But it does show that they are a team that can, on the inverse, really turn things around as the game goes on.
1st and 10 from the 25, 8:35 to go. The far side is Holman, and he picks up a nice gain there on first down, and they're actually going to give him the first down there. So a pickup of 10 and a good start to this possession.
And I think we really need to mention for Western Illinois, all of their OVC Big South losses have been within one possession outside of that Tennessee Tech game. You mentioned that earlier. They really should have beaten UT Martin on the road as well. They scored a touchdown with under a minute to go, but a penalty negated it, and then they had a field goal blocked. And so they've been right there with some of the top teams here in the conference this year.
Far side, that one is going to be caught. So good play there on the other side there by Cam Edwards getting his first catch of the day.
Speaking of UT Martin and the OVC Big South, we will have some scoreboard updates at the half, but definitely a game that a lot of Gardner-Webb fans are taking a look at today, is that UT Martin currently leads Tennessee Tech 10-3 towards the end of the second quarter.
So that's something to keep of note after the season Tennessee Tech has had, been in the top 10 in the coaches poll most of the season. Here's Holman trying to break one tackle and able to keep it moving there, is right there defensively trying to drag him down for the backside. Antonio O'Berry again.
And you really got to wonder, Tennessee Tech, they had that long win streak interrupted last week after they took a loss to Kentucky. And, the Golden Eagles having to play on the road like that against a good team, it can definitely disrupt some of that momentum that they really need here at the end of the season.
Well, a team with some momentum right now is Western Illinois moving the ball here, as that one's too high, once again intended for Cam Edwards, and that one's incomplete.
So Western Illinois is starting to move the ball a little bit here, and again, just because of the passing game that Western Illinois has, they can really get going if they need to.
So bring up a 2nd and 10 here with 7:03 to go from Gardner-Webb's 45-yard line, as Western Illinois having a good start to this drive. Need to get to the 36. And they're going to do just that. They're actually going to mark them maybe a yard short, getting the first down of the 34, and going to be a half a yard short. So 3rd and short coming up.
Damari Davis on the catch there. Speaking of that game against UT Martin, he actually made the Sports Center top 10 after that game. Had a nice one-handed touchdown grab in the back of the end zone, and what has arguably been the best catch in the conference so far this year.
I want to say it was number 2 or 3 on the top 10 list.
Yeah, it was towards the top.
Here it is, Wildcat with Holman. Sends Carswell in motion out left. Holman there trying to push the pile, and I don't think he got there.
I don't think he did either. I think he's going to be a half yard short here. Great job by Gardner-Webb, especially that second effort by the defensive front to go ahead and push him back and not give him the first down.
Now, Chudda was able to hit a 53, which was his season long last week. And I feel like the analytics would say you go for this one right here.
Well, it's ironic because outside of that one long field goal, he actually struggled in that game against SEMO, actually missed a couple of kicks from a shorter distance, ironically enough, after making that 53-yarder, which was a career long. But I also have to say this. If you are a team that wants to win football games, you have to be able to convert on these 4th and short scenarios.
4th and short, they give to Holman, and Holman breaks free, and he will move the chains. A team that is 50% on 4th down attempts, 5th in the conference, and they will do just that.
Great patience there by Holman. I thought for a second that he was actually going to be brought down short, but he let the blocking up front develop. He shifted to his left and hit the hole hard, and a nice carry there to go ahead and give Western Illinois the first down, and now you are solidly in field goal range after that.
Second effort there. On the out route, that one is going to be caught there by Alex Williams, so he's now starting to get involved in this receiving core and the tight end room that is for Western Illinois. 25-yard line, so a good pickup there on first.
Williams actually leads the conference right now in touch 7 on the season. They like to utilize him in the pass game a lot in the red zone. The transfer from Western Kentucky actually was originally a quarterback in high school as well, so he's just a good all-around athlete.
So the senior, the transfer from Western Kentucky, able to move the ball. Here's Holman there. He breaks one tackle. Nice cut there by Holman. Lowers the shoulder, and he will have enough for a first down. So Holman carrying the load here just a bit, and they'll move right into the red zone.
Jackson Marshall had him in the backfield there. I mean, Marshall did a good job of initially reading it and sprinting into the backfield, but Holman's just a guy that if you try to tackle him up high, he's just going to shake off that tackle. And so you just got to break down and make a more disciplined tackle attempt in the backfield if you're Jackson Marshall.
84% in the red zone this season, 4th in the conference in their first visit this afternoon. Going to throw a high lob catch, and it's caught into the end zone. Alex Williams, the tight end, and the senior will extend the lead, and they will take the lead here.
And not really surprising there for a guy that they utilize so well in red zone passing. And again, it's just one of those things where no one's accounting for the tight end, and that's the second time that's happened today. First it was Lanier, and then Alex Williams. And touchdown catch number 8 on the season. Quite a feat, especially for a tight end. And he is definitely one of their nice secret weapons there in terms of their goal line offense.
How about the tight end room for the Leathernecks today? Already a touchdown by Brandon Lanier, getting his 3rd score on the season. Then Alex Williams, as you said, getting his 8th on the season. So what an answer by Western Illinois as they now retake the lead, 14-10. The Leathernecks flexing their muscle here a bit on this Saturday afternoon. 17-yard touchdown made there by Western Illinois' Alex Williams on capping off a 10-play, 75-yard drive that took just over 4.5 minutes, and a nice play to get him open and free and right into the end zone.
Yeah, the coverage just has not been there for Gardner-Webb in terms of those tight ends, which, they came into today with, 10 combined touchdown grabs this season between Lanier and Williams, and so you would think that Gardner-Webb would try to account for those guys, but so far today in the first half, that has not been the case.
So 3:54 to go. They will kick this one off as Western Illinois retakes the lead. End over end kick. That will go into the end zone. Anthony Lowe will let it bounce, and they'll bring it out to the 25-yard line.
This has been an offense for Gardner-Webb that has been rather slow today, but we did see things really open up with that Carson Greasock long touchdown run. And I think if you're Gardner-Webb, you really need some momentum here going into the locker room, even if it is a field goal just to cut the deficit to 1, because this is a Western Illinois team that so far this afternoon and really these past couple of weeks have definitely punched above their weight.
And again, we've talked about it. Just the record really doesn't define just how well they have played. They could easily have 4 or 5 more wins just about just how they have played this season, but really have done well offensively here. That one's a bobble snap. Fumble on the ground. Who falls on it? Western Illinois saying it's their football. Still waiting for the signal. And it looks as if it's going to be, Gardner-Webb football. So Gardner-Webb takes a deep sigh of relief as that one had a chance to be big, as Western Illinois could have double-dipped.
Just the snap was a little bit to the right, but that's still one that Pennington should relatively easily have there. And as you said, they got very lucky because that would have been first down for Western Illinois in the red zone if they had recovered that one.
It was like maybe Holmes was able to fall on that one at the bottom of the pile. Would hate to be at the bottom of one of those there fighting for that, but Gardner-Webb will hang on. But however, they will face a 2nd and 17 from the 18. Pennington's able to take this one nicely. That one's caught by Borders. Borders escapes one tackler. He moves up the middle, gets across the 30-yard line. So a good pickup there on first down. Now they are facing a 3rd and short.
A little shifty right there. I very much like that. I mean, some great moves and was able to avoid some tacklers to pick up a few extra yards. Got to be careful when you do that because sometimes a defensive back will come out of nowhere and make you pay for it. But does set up a 3rd and manageable here for Gardner-Webb.
Averaging just over 17.5 yards per catch. They'll throw on the near side. That's low, intended for low, but they're going to say that one is incomplete. So Pennington just standing there still can't believe it because he knew that Lowe had a chance to take that one upfield and get the first down.
And just knowing the athletic ability of Anthony Lowe probably would have if that one was just at chest level. And they do go ahead and call it incomplete, but wouldn't have made really a big difference either way. And that one definitely stings if you're Gardner-Webb. Just some of those passes have just been off today for it, and that offense has just been out of step right now. Give credit to Western Illinois, though. They're really disrupting what Gardner-Webb is trying to do offensively.
That's the 3rd 3-and-out for Gardner-Webb and their offense, and a Western Illinois defense that's in the bottom 2 defensively in 6 different defensive categories this season, or at least in the conference, that is. But they come in here today into Boiling Springs trying to pull the upset in front of this senior day celebration crowd.
And we kind of saw that, in that Tennessee Tech game where they hung 66 points against Western Illinois. And so this is a Leathernecks defense that has struggled, as he said, is towards the bottom of the conference in most defensive stat categories. But to be fair to them, they've cleaned it up over these last few weeks. They did a nice effort against TSU and against Lindenwood, got a nice win against the Lindenwood team above them in the standings, and it's all starting to come together now for WIU.
Got a helmet that come off here and able to escape one tackler. Holman's able to have that one on the far side across the 45. And bouncing off tacklers there. So Western Illinois there on a nice scamper and knocked out of bounds right near the 50. They're going to mark him at the 48-yard line.
Holman's made some really nice runs this afternoon. I mean, runs that should have been no gains. He's turned it into something, which has really helped out Western Illinois and their offense.
So we saw a lot of players there. We have an official maybe timeout right here. So they're going to take a break, and we're going to take another one here on a 2-minute timeout. Gardner-Webb defensively showing a little bit of struggles, but Western Illinois trying to move the ball offensively down the field. 14-10 your score, Western Illinois on top. A 2nd and 2 coming up right as we're coming out of the 2-minute timeout. Bryson Burns, Ford Martin here with you. Western Illinois, really, Carson Carswell just starting to really get comfortable with this game here in the first half.
Well, it's him and Holman that have done a really good job of really leading this offense right now for Western Illinois, and they've gotten some tight ends open at times, and that's certainly helped things as well. Holman averaging about 4.5 yards per carry right now, and, of course, you had that 49-yard touchdown pass to Lanier.
Holman will move the pile there and bring up a 3rd and short. Put it at a 3rd and 1 right there at the 50-yard line. So need to get to the 50 to move the chains. They go quick here. Minute 44 to go, and trying to see if maybe they can get Gardner-Webb to jump off sides and get a free 5.
Both teams still with 3 timeouts, by the way. Just important to keep that in mind.
They give it the middle. Carswell is blown up in the backfield as he gave it to Holman, and Holman has enough to move the chains, but Carswell took a bit of a shot right there in the backfield as now Western Illinois goes hurry up.
I got to tell you, he's really tough, especially for a freshman. He shows a lot of grit and a lot of fight.
Especially with this up front there by Gardner-Webb. That is enough for about a 6-yard gain. Good catch made there on the far side. Carswell throws that one out. Gives it there once again. I want to say that was Cam Edwards again.
Called him down inbound, so clock continues to roll. Western Illinois going fast here.
Minute to go. Fake to Holman. Steps up, and he throws. That might be a fumble there. Gardner-Webb jumped on it. Do they have the ball? They do. Gardner-Webb football on the fumble by Carswell. Now we have to see, when they take a look at this, was the arm going forward as he was making that throw?
And now they're saying incomplete. The referee near midfield is saying incomplete 3rd down. Now, I will have to say, you almost certainly have to take a look at this one at the very least.
They might be taking a look here. So after Gardner-Webb, after one official was pointing in the direction for Gardner-Webb.
And I do have to say, that angle, it does look like the ball is going forward to me.
Crawley had it there originally and had slipped off, but so that is a good call. So it speedy-eyed review there by our officials on the far side that came in there and called that one an incomplete pass. And I believe Chris Reiser is wanting a timeout to see if maybe they might take another look at this.
So both teams now have 2 timeouts. Correction, Western Illinois did use one earlier in the half, but again, if you're Gardner-Webb and you can get a stop here, you do have a relatively decent chance of maybe putting together a quick drive. But here's the look again, and it does look like the arm is going forward. Yes. Nice heads up regardless there by Gardner-Webb to go ahead and keep playing at the very least, because you never know what the referee's going to rule on the field. So nice job being Johnny on the spot there. But
had to take another look right there. Reiser did. So that will have them at 2 timeouts there. But we did, as we talked about it, had one official come in immediately and point in the direction of Gardner-Webb football. The entire defense for the running Bulldogs came to their sideline and had a far judge come over and rolled that one incomplete. Got together with our head judge and rolled that one incomplete and had to rush the defense back out there for the running Bulldogs all over again.
And that was maybe why Reiser called a timeout there, because that defense was probably kind of out of position and coming back onto the field late. But here we go. Both teams 2 timeouts, 53 seconds left. Western Illinois obviously can go ahead and try to go up 2 scores here. But if you get a stop, again, if you're Gardner-Webb, you may be able to put together a quick drive with some of your timeouts.
53 seconds to go, 3rd and 4. And that one is going to be caught. Or no, they're going to say that one's incomplete.
Yeah, that was a really nice job on the defense right there for Gardner-Webb. Nearly picked that one off was Jakari Bryson, the redshirt junior. Played at Northwestern High School, which, by the way, usually a powerhouse when it comes to South Carolina high school football. And so it will go ahead and bring on the punt team, though, for the Leathernecks.
Miller, who's already had one inside the 20 already. And over in punt, Anthony Lowe will fair catch this one at the 12-yard line. A similar position that they were on that long drive that they had there for a touchdown that was capped off by Carson Griesach. So 43 seconds to work here, 2 timeouts for Gardner-Webb left, and let's see if they can put something together here to possibly even get within 1.
I think you should probably take a shot, at least one downfield right now if you're Gardner-Webb, because you have time to put together a drive to at least get in the range of VRL. Your target right now is the Western Illinois 35-yard line. Ball is marked at their own 13, so they'll have a bit of a ways to go to get there, but if they can find Lowe or Lofton deep downfield, then they may be able to do it.
Need about 50 yards to really get into VRL territory. On the screen to Holmes, who lowers the shoulder across the 20-yard line. And Holmes, a good pickup there on first down, but they still need a lot more. Need that big strike there to even try and even get into field goal range.
Not using a timeout, but they're still hurrying up on offense.
20 seconds to go and counting. Pennington going to step up, and he's just going to slide. And got to wonder if maybe they'll just let the rest of the clock draw off here.
Yeah, I would take it into the locker room at this point, because if you try to go through it here on third down, then you may give Western Illinois an opportunity to block a punt.
We do have a stoppage here, and a timeout is called. Wasn't sure exactly who it was made by. It's going to be made by Western Illinois. So Joe Davis, in his second year with Western Illinois, going to take a timeout with 8 seconds to go.
And I like the idea there by Western Illinois. You run one more play, force a fourth down right there, and you can maybe block a punt there to get another touchdown at the end of the half. So it's understandable why Western Illinois is taking a timeout. And so just got to go ahead and play smart defense here, and then who knows what can happen on the final play of the half.
So after taking a pickup of 3 by Pennington, to force now a 3rd and 6. Got to wonder here what this Gardner-Webb team is going to try right here to maybe just run the ball and force Western Illinois to take one of those final timeouts with maybe a couple seconds left. They actually moved the clock up to 11 seconds now.
Yeah, because I was going to say
that changes things
Yes,
now.
I was going to say maybe they just have Pennington just scramble around and try to run out the rest of the clock, but I don't think you could do that now with 11 seconds, and so this very likely won't be the final play of the half.
They're going to give it to Holmes, who'll run left guard. Holmes breaks one tackler, and he'll have enough for a first down, so that will change things as far as the mindset for Joe Davis after that good pickup. That stops the clock with 3 seconds, and that will probably move the clock after that, after the small stoppage, after the first down, and that is going to do it. 14-10 your score. What a start to this first half for Western Illinois, and the way they've ended it here. They will receive the second half kickoff when we come back. The Jersey Mike's halftime report coming up from Boiling Springs with Bryson Burns and Ford Martin. Myself, we'll be right back. And welcome back to Boiling Springs, North Carolina. Bryson Burns, Ford Martin here with you on the Jersey Mike's halftime report. Bryson, as we look to Gardner-Webb, they need a win to get to the FCS playoffs and a little help, but right now they got to take care of business here.
Yeah, we'll look at some of those scoreboards in the next segment to see what's happening around the country, but none of that matters if you're Gardner-Webb and you can't win here today. And, I mean, that first half at times did not look really good for the running Bulldogs. Yes, they did have that nice Carson Griesach touchdown run, and they had some other good things going as we take a look at those first half highlights. But, I mean, Lanier and Williams, the 2 tight ends for the Leathernecks, really got things going there. And it's interesting. We've talked about how these 2 tight ends do such a good job in terms of the passing game for Western Illinois, and yet Gardner-Webb has really failed to cover them here this afternoon. And then defensively, Western Illinois has also looked really strong. But there was definitely some good signs there for Gardner-Webb as we see that Carson Griesok long touchdown run that gave Gardner-Webb the lead there in the second quarter before Western Illinois ultimately took the lead again as you take another look at the angle there. Nice job by Pennington on the snap and taking care of it and giving it to Griesok. But Ford, this is definitely a danger scenario right now for Gardner-Webb, whose playoff hopes are still alive, but the path is definitely closing right now, at least here in this first half.
And that fadeaway pass there, that was caught by Alex Williams, the second by a tight end today by Western Illinois. And going back to that high snap that we saw there at Pennington, they kind of had some miscommunication, the high snaps. We saw the fumble in the backfield earlier by Gardner-Webb, so they've really struggled in that department today as far as just kind of being consistent. But we'll take a look at here our first half stats presented by First Citizens Bank, Forever First, and right there on the passing yards, leading that category is the Leathernecks.
Yeah, and all things considered, it actually looks pretty even right now. I mean, total yards, only a 16-yard advantage for WIU. First downs, a couple more for Western Illinois. Both teams averaging basically the same amount for every play, but again, it's just been those tight end touchdown catches that have really pulled Western Illinois into this 4-point advantage. Now, for Gardner-Webb, still got plenty of time to work with in that second half. They did have that really nice long field goal from Charlie Villarreal as well, but, you know, they're definitely going to have to pick it up there in the final 30 minutes because if they don't take care of business today, Ford, then without a doubt it's over for them.
And none of it matters if you don't pick up a win today. Got to take care of business here in Boiling Springs. 14-10 your score. Western Illinois on top. Bryson Burns, Ford Martin here with you in our Jersey Mike's halftime report. A look from around the country when we come back. Back here at Boiling Springs, second half about to be underway. Bryson Burns, Ford Martin here with you. Western Illinois with the lead, 14-10, as they look to pull the upset on this Saturday afternoon in front of the Senior Day crowd. The regular season finale across the OVC here in FCS play. Western Illinois will take the second half kickoff right here, Bryson.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Gardner-Webb responds. You know, Western Illinois, it was pretty even there in that first half, but they made them pay on some of those passing plays deep downfield. And for Gardner-Webb, got to lock down here. You got 30 more minutes to go to try to go ahead and at least put yourself at the table for FCS playoff conversations, and a loss here today would effectively end it. We will have some scoreboard updates throughout the second half from around the country, but if you're the running Bulldogs, the only thing that matters right here and right now is defeating Western Illinois.
I'm sure your fingers are probably hurting over there, scrolling and keeping up with the scoreboard over there on that side. Second half is underway as taking this one back out across the 25-30. Here he comes, taking it free. Miles Cox to the 45. And what a start for Western Illinois to this second half.
Again, they really like to use them in a lot of return man scenarios, and that was been very much seen so far this season as he's been their main kickoff return guy. Also has 4 career touchdown catches as well, and really good start here for Western Illinois, and almost mirrors what we saw from Anthony Lowe on that one kickoff return in the first half.
Anthony Lowe took it back right to that 45, so similar returns as you said. And now Carson Carswell will come out, and this is where he's going to set up shop here for this second half. Was 13 for 21 for 128 and a couple touchdowns. Now 144.5 quarterback rating, but a lot of that is due to the help as he tries to push a pile with Holman and start that he has had right now currently. 14 rushes for 57 yards.
I like how Holman and I really like how Carswell have both been playing. They've been playing with a lot of confidence, and, you know, it would be easy for Western Illinois to come into this game, you know, only 3-8, knowing their season's going to end today regardless of what happens, and just go ahead and just kind of play haphazardly, just kind of throw in the towel. But they have not done that. They've played with a lot of pride this afternoon, and it's definitely showed on the offensive side of the ball for them.
We'll send Davis, or excuse me, make that Duncan in motion. Carswell here. We'll give it to Holman. Nice cut from the left side. Goes left tackle and bounces his way to about a yard short of the marker. So third and short upcoming for this Leathernecks offense.
Really good job on the left side of the offensive line there. You got a redshirt freshman in Matthew Montgomery at left tackle. he had some pretty good blocks there, and you're also without your starting left guard today if you're Western Illinois. And so, some inexperience there on that left side, but they did a good job of opening things up for Holman and giving them a 3rd and short.
3rd and 1. Holman drives and moves a pile. Second effort is there and moves across the 40. Tackle made there by Jackson Marshall. But Holman on that second effort there kept the pile moving and gets a 1st down.
Great job there by him. Now there is a Western Illinois auto lineman down. Dorian Argillis, currently the player that's down. He's a sophomore right guard, and he's down right near the Gardner-Webb 43-yard line.
So as they tend to him here, we're going to take a break. 13-11 to go. Western Illinois offense driving here to start this second half. Back here in Boiling Springs, Western Illinois offense driving down the field on Gardner-Webb's 40-yard line coming out of our quick TV timeout. Carswell here in the gun now. 13-11 to go. Carswell going to throw this one deep up top, back toward the end zone, over the shoulder. And what a break from the far side to knock that one away last minute. What a play there by Gardner-Webb to knock that one away.
Whew, Gardner-Webb got lucky there for it. I mean, it was a really well-placed ball by Carswell, and he kind of put it on the money there, but it was just well defended. Let's take a look at it again. Just a deep shot downfield. May have put a little too much air underneath it. My only criticism.
And nice able to make that nice play, not last second.
Yeah, Wendell McLean, who's been banged up for a few games here this season, but when he has played significantly well in that defensive backfield.
Got to get this one to Holman up the middle, and he'll fight forward for about 3, maybe 2, they're going to say. So right at that 37-yard line.
That's kind of why I'm a big believer of keeping it on the ground on first downs. Yes, you may have something deep downfield, but with a guy like Holman, he usually does a good enough job to pick up 4 or 5 yards on a first down carry, and so that'll set you up to either run or throw the ball on second down, whereas after that incomplete pass, it puts you behind schedule and forces you into a 3rd and 8 now.
3rd and 8 now. 12:24 to go on the screen to Holman on the far side. Gets the 35, hops over a defender, and Holman has enough for a 1st down. We'll see where they're going to mark him. They actually might mark him a yard short, actually. First initial look had him making that marker, and it's going to be a 4th down and inches. They're going to go quick, but how about the hops from Holman?
I thought he got it. Ford honestly thought he got it, but an amazing play by him.
They go quick with Holman. He steps outside. Marshall's trying to get him from the back, and a spin move right at the marker. Where are they going to give it to him? They have it. Yeah, now they do and give it to him. 1st down, Leathernecks. But Holman with the jump and athletic ability by him right there on the 3rd and 4th down to get that 1st down as Western Illinois goes quick.
I mean, the defensive line had him in the backfield, too. That should have been a turnover on downs, but Holman just with a superhuman effort right there.
Marshall had him, but not able to capitalize. They give a break as Williams now comes in on the handoff, and he fights back toward the original line of scrimmage.
Transfer from Mississippi State. Doesn't see a ton of playing time as the second-string guy, but coming to today, he is averaging 5.5 yards per carry, so a pretty solid number 2 option in the backfield for Western Illinois.
Carswell recheck things up. 3 receivers with Williams there, the tight end, back in motion. 2nd and 10. Carswell going to throw this one. Oh, Lotus Williams! He grabs it, and where are they going to mark him? They're going to give it to him at the 1. So Williams, who was open once again, is able to bring it down, had to wait on it just a bit. And Carswell, they're going to go quick here.
They're just getting baited by these play-action attempts.
They're going to go the tush push, waiting for the signal. They're going to talk about it. Western Illinois says they have it. Williams there was pushing Carswell, and they're going to bring up a 2nd down. So good stop defensively on the tush push defensively by Gardner-Webb, and now they're going to bring Carswell under center once again. Do they do it again with Williams pushing him in? They do go the quarterback sneak, and this time he got it. Touchdown, Western Illinois. What a drive there to start the second half there, Bryson.
Really, really impressive stuff right there by Western Illinois. And, I mean, a lot of their offensive production so far today has just been running play action and then throwing it to the tight end, as you saw with Williams there, who actually appears to be a little banged up after the play.
And knocked the wind down there just a little bit right there, but appears to be okay. He's hanging there on this field goal attempt as he's there leaning over.
I mean, Western Illinois, they got a lot of size up front, especially at the guards. You got a right guard that's 340 and a left guard that's 325, and so just pushing that weight around to get that extra inch to give you the touchdown.
And that kick is up and good. So a 10-point lead for Western Illinois off the quarterback sneak by Carswell. Caps off an 11-play, 55-yard drive. We do have a late flag that's been thrown down. I got to wonder here, as this is a quick stoppage to make it a 21-10 game. So a necessary roughness call on the defense after is over. So we'll see if that will probably be used there on the kickoff when we return. 10:04 to go, and Western Illinois comes out on fire to start the second half here in Boiling Springs. Well, the last thing Gardner-Webb needed, at least defensively, to start the second half was a long drive by Western Illinois to extend the lead as they try to hang on to their playoff hopes. But now Western Illinois goes down, gets a touchdown on a necessary roughness penalty after the extra point, and they're going to kick this one off from the 50 to try and back Gardner-Webb back in deep.
And I'll say this, if I was Western Illinois right now, I would be really tempted to do a surprise onside kick here.
And they're going to squib this one. Going to take this up, cross the 20 to the 25, and try to spring away from that one there. So that is where the offense will start out here with just under 10 minutes to go.
We do have a couple score updates. Yale does beat Harvard, which does make it a bit more difficult for Gardner-Webb, as that means 2 Ivy League teams will likely get in. Of course, this year being the first year the Ivy League has allowed their teams to go to the FCS playoffs. Lehigh did beat Lafayette, which probably helps Gardner-Webb. It puts Lafayette basically at the same level as Gardner-Webb if the Running Bulldogs come back and win today. And then midway through the fourth quarter in Cookeville, UT Martin just retook the lead against Tennessee Tech 17-10.
Here's Pennington, pump fakes. He has some room to run. He's going to throw along the sideline, and getting a foot down was Borders. One of the bigger plays of the day for Gardner-Webb.
Yeah, really nice job there, just trying to find an open man on the sideline, and that's the kind of stuff you need right now if you're Gardner-Webb, just trying to get these medium-range passing plays to guys like Caleb Borders or Chris Lofton to go ahead and try to move the chains on a more consistent basis, and looks like we have a injured Western Illinois player.
So he is down currently right now, but right there, just going back to the drive by Western Illinois, just taking that downfield, and obviously they found Alex Williams there that set him up right at the 1-yard line. Obviously, but, you know, that had to go back once again to Holman on that big third down run that he had, leaping over a defender, got right there at the marker. They went for him on fourth down, and the backfield, Jackson Marshall, had a chance to tackle him to create a turnover on downs and was not able to do that. And, again, finding the tight end, Williams, and then the quarterback sneak for the touchdown.
I mean, everything just went Western Illinois' way that drive, and the Leathernecks made sure it did. They did a good job of creating opportunities for themselves and not giving up. And that play-action pass to their tight ends, it's worked multiple times this afternoon. And good to see number 3, Christian Pierce, back on the sideline and on his feet for Western Illinois. The transfer from Delaware was the injured man there for a second for the Leathernecks.
So after the 18-yard completion to Borders, here's Gardner-Webb, gives it to Holmes, who just is coming off one of his better games last season. He obviously had right there 135 last week, but just hasn't been able to spring free today. That's just his 6th carry, now at 13 yards.
He has just struggled to get going really here today, and that up front for Gardner-Webb. Outside of that Greasehawk touchdown run, they've struggled to open up holes in terms of the run game.
Holmes here on the near side across the 45. Holmes tight ropes down the sideline, and he'll step out of bounds. And just as we were talking about Holmes trying to spring free, he goes off for his best run of the day.
And here's the thing. This is a Gardner-Webb team that their offense can really get going at any time. Second in the conference in total yards and in total scoring. And we saw that in that opener against Western Carolina go all the way back to late August, where it was a 35-7 deficit for Gardner-Webb in the second quarter, and they were able to turn things around and get a really nice win against Western Carolina, probably their best win of the season in terms of the strength of their opponent.
From the 45, Pennington rolls out right, flag down. That one's caught on the far side as Borders. He steps forward across the 30, but we're going to have to see what the flag is going to be. Initial look as if it's going to be on Gardner-Webb.
Really makes me think that this one's coming back. When you see a flag like that in the backfield, your first thought is offensive holding, and that is indeed the call. Or actually, chop block on the play. And
yeah,
again, it's not like the old days where you could really get away with a wide variety of chop blocks. If you're going to do a chop block, it has to be right away, and it has to be a defender right on the line of scrimmage. And it's pretty specific when you do it and how you do it, just trying to prevent some of those lower body injuries to those D linemen.
So a tough outing right there for Gardner-Webb. That will back them up now. Be a 1st and 15. Or excuse me, make that it's going to be a 25, actually. Pennington going to roll that one. That one's going to be caught. Or excuse me, make that one from the defensive back. Knocks that one away. And we'll back things up again more.
Trying to find Borders, and I think Borders kind of tripped himself up at the top of the route, and because of that, Western Illinois was in position there to knock it away. They haven't struggled with penalties, by the way, that much this season, but certainly been the case here today, especially on this drive.
So after a great start to the drive, a couple of catches by Borders, a long run we saw there by Holmes, now facing a 2nd and 25 from their own 40. They're going to throw a screen to Anthony Lowe, who's blown up right in the backfield. What a play, seeing that by Bonner, and he recognized it, and he takes down Lowe.
Well, he had 6 tackles last time out against SEMO. Didn't play the first couple of games of the season, but has really stepped up here in OVC Big South Conference play. And, man, this is going to be a 3rd and probably close to 30 now.
Backs him even further. So after what we talked about, a good start to the drive, Gardner-Webb right now in trouble. Need to get to the 35 on the other 35, that is Western Illinois territory. Got to wonder if we'll see a deep ball here to maybe get a pass interference. Throws that one deep. That one was nearly intercepted right there by Buckner, but able to catch that one, I believe. I want to say a late flag may have came in here. On the far side, something went flying. There is a couple yellow jerseys there in the backfield, there on that sideline. So there was a flag, yes.
Yep, right on that Western Illinois sideline. Kind of hard to tell with the yellow jerseys.
A couple yellow towels.
Wow, how about that? An automatic first down, it appears, and a big, big mistake there if you're Western Illinois. And that's the thing is, you know that you already have a 3rd and forever there, and there's just no reason to make a mistake like that to allow Gardner-Webb to move the chains. Gardner-Webb really bailed out there.
That is a big break for the running Bulldogs that were facing a 3rd and 25, and then what was going to be a 4th down. Here's Holmes now. Flag comes in. Holmes lowers the shoulder. A couple flags come in right towards the very end of the play, so from the start and the end. And initial look right as one of our officials before he gives a call. Yes, it is going to be a holding here that is coming back on Gardner-Webb. So as you were talking about it, Bryce, about there hasn't been many penalties on Gardner-Webb today, and right here, multiple ones on this drive.
And again, we've talked about how it hasn't been really a huge issue for them. You know, they have the 3rd least amount of penalty yards in the OVC Big South coming into today, and so compared to a lot of other teams in the conference, they usually play pretty clean football, don't commit a ton of penalties, but definitely happening at the worst time for them now.
So their officials are going to stop this one right here. The side judge was saying that one was on me as he came in to stop that play as they have a bit of a discussion here at the 45. So as they still talk about this one right here, a 1st and 20 from the Western Illinois 47-yard line. So things appear to be okay. May have been a bit of a time issue. And they're going to huddle up here one more time.
Rather be correct than get it wrong. So if it's worth getting it right, then certainly it makes sense to go ahead and take your time here.
So things appear to be okay. So we'll get ready to move the clock here. 7:03 to go, 21-10. Gardner-Webb in Western Illinois territory. Here's Pennington. Buckner coming off from the far side. Buckner tries to take him down, and he does. Buckner from the far side comes in and makes the sack.
Just a good job right there by Justin Buckner. You know, he came into today with 5 TFLs and 2.5 sacks. First team All-State and All-Conference selection back in high school. And this Gardner-Webb up front, I mean, they've just really been eaten up here this drive forward.
And Christian Pierce finishing it off there. Brings up a 2nd and 27. So again, Gardner-Webb facing a long down situation. Pennington. That one's caught. And making a move upfield for Lofton to the 45. And we'll see where they're going to say he stepped out of bounds. So a good pickup there. But now brings up a 3rd down.
I got to say, at least for Gardner-Webb right now, the ball is at WIU's 47. You want really kind of 12 yards out of this next play to try to give Charlie Villarreal a chance. Does have a career long of 50, and thus you would think that he could theoretically make one from about 52, 53 yards out.
Pennington looks left and didn't see him coming from the far side again. He fumbled the football. Not sure if he was down yet or not. We'll have to see. But initial look and ruling by our officiating crew is Leathernecks football.
And I think David Dunstan was the guy who actually came up with it for Gardner-Webb, or excuse me, for Western Illinois. Just great job there. Pennington kind of realized that the last second, but far too late that time around. And it was, wow, just a good play there by Western Illinois.
Disaster strikes for Gardner-Webb, and you see the frustration here by Cole Pennington as he makes his way to the sideline here. Frustrating start to this second half for Gardner-Webb. They find themselves down 21-10 here midway through the 3rd. Another look one more time there on this drive by Western Illinois. Defensively had a couple sacks there on Cole Pennington. Made his life a struggle there, and then ending it off there with the fumble coming about from the far side. Didn't see him coming, and that's the way Gardner-Webb does. Here's Holman trying to break free. Spins one tackler. Still going, Holman, to the 25-yard line. What a start to the second half for the Leathernecks.
Well, I mean, you got to give a shout-out real fast to Malini Tia. He was the guy that had the strip sack there for Western Illinois, and I thought he was gone there for a second on that last play. I mean, it just opened up on the middle right there.
The floodgates were there.
I mean, it's this is a game that it's starting to spiral out of control for Gardner-Webb, just to be quite frank right now, Ford. I mean, nothing is really going their way right now here in the second half, and you have to start to be really worried if you're Gardner-Webb. It was one thing to only be down 4, going to the locker room, whatever, but this is a Western Illinois team that has really opened things up here late.
4:50 to go. They're going to give to Holman. Side steps at the 25, and good work defensively by the running Bulldogs to stop him there, and I'll bring up a 2nd and 10.
That's the thing, is they've done a not-so-good job of containing Holman, especially here in the second half. And part of the thing is if you don't contain him, then you're going to try to really bite in there on those play-action passes because you want to stop Holman, and that's the type of plays where you're going to have a tight end wide open downfield because you take the bait on the play-action. And so for Gardner-Webb here, I think you really need a stop, or at the very least to hold Western Illinois to a field goal.
I remember Gardner-Webb's defense. They've held opponents to under 100 yards rushing in back-to-back weeks. Western Illinois is a single yard from breaking that streak on the Gardner-Webb defensive side. Fake to Holman, going to throw a similar style pass too high as he tried to get that to Lanier to try to get his second touchdown of the day. And we've seen that from Carswell a lot today, where he kind of throws it on his back shoulder and throws a rainbow-style pass, and that time it comes up incomplete.
Well, a much better job in coverage on that scenario there by Wendell McLean, again, trying to run the play action to the tight end. And that was really the first time this afternoon Gardner-Webb has defended it well. And it's going to bring up a 3rd and 10 here. Chada is a really good field goal kicker. Did struggle last week, but despite some of those struggles, he did make that career-long 53 yards.
3rd and 10, under 4 to play. Carswell under pressure. Got the throw off his back shoulder. That one is caught at the 1. Did he get into the end zone? They're going to mark him short at the 1-yard line. What a play, and he grabs that one on the far side. Again, it's Cam Edwards.
I mean, it's just been tough right now for this Gardner-Webb defense, but really give huge credit to WIU. Great pass there on the rollout. You have a lot of pressure to your backside there, and you're rolling out to your left, and you're able to hit him in stride. And Ford, they may take a look at this.
Yeah, I'm about to say, they might take a look and review this one right here because the entire Western Illinois bench is excited as if they think this could be a touchdown.
Well, he definitely made contact with the pylon, that's for sure. So I guess the question is, did he step out of bounds before touching the pylon or not? And if he didn't, then this should actually be a touchdown for Western Illinois. We'll see here. They brought pressure and was able to keep it alive long enough.
See right there in the top, and
I think that's a touchdown.
Bryson, I think initial look right there, that might be a score.
Yeah.
Finding Cam Edwards as they are taking another look right here. That initial look, at least from that one, looked to be, obviously he got his single foot down where it would be a catch. Now the question is, was he able to put that ball across the pylon?
Well, here's another angle. He's still in. Does that right foot hit that out of bounds area right before he reaches out and hits the pylon? That one looks a lot more questionable, Ford. And we're going to take a look at that same angle because I think this is the best look we're going to get.
Right here is Carswell. I mean, great work escaping that Gardner-Webb defensive front. And
still in. I think that right foot hits
right
before.
Right there at the 1.
Right
so
before.
Great work by our team, able to get that and able to show it for us right there. We'll see if the officials do agree. We don't have a Terry McCauley up here in the booth with us, so we have to rely on Bryson Burns up here.
Well, the other thing Western Illinois may argue here is that he broke the plane before his right foot went out of bounds is the other thing. So it may have been over the goal line and in even before he hit it with the pylon.
Yep, so they're going to put that right about the half-yard line. So we've already had Carswell already have a QB sneak and was able to put it into the end zone. Do they do back-to-back? I guess it's one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Might as well. I mean, you have some pretty big guys up front there, especially in terms of their interior offensive line. But, man, I got to give huge, huge credit to Western Illinois. You know, coming from one end of the conference all the way out in Macomb, Illinois, coming all the way down to Boiling Springs, North Carolina, you only have a 3-8 record, and yet you put on a clinic like this. So impressive.
They go gun this time. Williams in motion. They're going to give it to Holman, and he's in. Touchdown, Western Illinois, and they extend the lead once again. It's Markel Holman.
I mean, Western Illinois, they just came out of the locker room simply more motivated, and they just simply wanted this more, it feels like right now, Ford. I mean, Holman, nice run there. He's been a workhorse all afternoon for Western Illinois. For a Leatherneck fan, good to see him getting into the end zone. But, man, it's just been really tough for Gardner-Webb, and you think that maybe they would come out of the locker room trying to regain the momentum. But it's just been all Western Illinois here so far in the second half as a flag down before the snap.
And this is a quiet and stunned Gardner-Webb crowd that hard to believe what is happening in front of them. A team that has played well at home for the most part this season. It did have that one loss versus UT Martin. And here once again on a field goal attempt, another flag called here on Gardner-Webb. So,
and this is a Western Illinois team, by the way, that's 1-5 on the road.
They might be bringing the offense back out here as that one was on Gardner-Webb. Got to wonder if they might go for 2 here. because that moves the ball from the 2 to the 1 yard line, and they might be bringing the offense out here, Bryson.
It looks like it.
So they're going to go for 2. So it moves from the 2 to the 1. Holman, who just scored from this just moments ago, can they do it again for the 2-point conversion? They give it to Holman. Holman runs right guard, and he finds his way into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. So insult to injury for this Gardner-Webb defense that just seems surprised and stunned about what's taking place here this afternoon.
I mean, that 2-point conversion kind of encapsulates how the second half has really gone. Gardner-Webb makes a mistake. Western Illinois then takes advantage of that mistake with some great running from Markel Holman. I mean, it's been really tough right now here for Gardner-Webb, and it's hard to believe it for because Gardner-Webb, they looked so good really against Lindenwood. They've looked good in these past couple of games, took Tennessee Tech down to the wire in Cookeville. But despite all of that, this is looking like the Gardner-Webb team that really laid a goose egg against UT Martin, lost that one 37-7. And so you kind of see a case of regression right here. And so for Gardner-Webb, it's gut check time now. You need to go ahead and get this all together, get this all figured out, because if you don't, then the chances of you going to the postseason drop to 0 if you don't get this win.
Hanging on by a thread. That capped off a 5-play, 45-yard drive with rush attempt by Holman, who also got the 2-point conversion. 29-10 with 3:27 to go was Western Illinois. We'll kick this off from the 35. Lowe is back to receive. Got to wonder if he'll take this out, but it will bounce into the end zone, and touchback is called.
Got to think he was tempted to do it. I mean, if you're down 19 right now, you're going to be desperate to try to make a play, especially if you're a really good athlete.
And you talked about, Bryson, gut check time for this running Bulldogs offense, so we will see how they respond. Now, remember, they did move the ball well downfield. Penalties just results in them moving backwards.
Yeah, right now, Western Illinois only outgaining Gardner-Webb by around 80 yards, which, yes, is definitely the advantage for the Leathernecks, but you wouldn't expect it to be a 19-point advantage with that total yard margin.
Pennington under trouble. He drops forward and taken down again. Right there on time as he getting right in the backfield. Great play by Tia again. He has Pennington in his nightmares so far after the last one where it was a fumble recovery. This time he comes back and gets the sack.
5 sacks now for Western Illinois. They're going to have to change something up front right now because the pass protection has not been there for Gardner-Webb, but really give a lot of credit to those defensive linemen for the Leathernecks.
And they give to Greasock on a 2nd and 18 run up the middle. And that will get about a yard or two. So now Gardner-Webb is going to face a long 3rd down right here. They need to get to the 35.
Still have not taken a shot downfield to Lofton or Lowe yet. They've had some 15, 20-yard medium-range routes, but no true home run ball.
Remember, they were bailed out by the unnecessary roughness that was able to extend the drive. The last time, it was a 3rd and long. Pennington will load this one up across the middle. That one's caught by Lofton right at the marker. We'll see where they spot him. Initial look is a 1st down, and it is. So Gardner-Webb moves the chains at Chris Lofton.
If you're a guy like Chris Lofton, who's been the leading receiver for Gardner-Webb this year, that's one of those things where you say, okay, it's 3rd and long, getting kind of late in the game. I need to make a play. And a great job by him getting open. And a nice throw by Pennington as well.
Pennington's going to load this one up again to Lofton. Back to him, and it's caught. Did he get a foot in bounds? Waiting for the signal? Yes, he did. Chris Lofton over the shoulder, back-to-back big plays, and Gardner-Webb's in business.
Here we go. That's the kind of plays you need right now for Gardner-Webb. Things are feeling flat. You got no momentum, so just go ahead, give it to your main playmaker. A little bit of life now for Gardner-Webb, but you got to take advantage.
So Gardner-Webb, Chris Reiser's displaying they didn't sub, so why are they allowing the Western Illinois team to sub? Reiser, it's all in the ear of the official. They give it to Greasock, who runs right side, who moves his way to the 25. Now Reiser is arguing with the coach. Official, you can see at the very bottom of our screen, the bug is covering up there a bit. He's saying that Gardner-Webb did not sub, so why are they not allowed to snap the ball?
And we're actually the room over from the assistant coaches for Gardner-Webb, and we could hear them yelling the same thing just across from us.
2nd and 5. Pennington going to throw this one the slant. That one had it in his hands but dropped, as it looks like that was intended for Corey Jones.
Field goal would make it a 2-possession game, but you would have to make two-point conversions in that scenario. This may be 4-down territory here for Gardner-Webb, but
you're with 58 seconds to go left in the third. On the 25, a 3rd and 6 approaching. What does Tyler Johns draw up here? Play action. Pennington had that tipped at the line of scrimmage, intended for Jones, and a 4th down approaching for Gardner-Webb in the offense. Now it's decision time. Do they trot out VRL, or do they go for it on 4th down, as you were talking about there, Bryce, and maybe be in 4-down territory?
The offense is staying out there, and that just shows how big that 2-point conversion Western Illinois made was, by the way, because they could have kicked the field goal, make it a 15-point game, only have to make one 2-point conversion in that scenario for Gardner-Webb. But down 19, you probably need to go ahead and have the need to go for it here.
So a 4th down, need to get to the 19. Pennington throws, and it's caught wide open for the touchdown. Caleb Borders, who had a couple great catches in the first half, he comes back on 4th down, and Gardner-Webb has life.
What a catch there, and what a throw by Pennington. That was an absolute dart on the play. There was a Western Illinois player there that was a yard just too far wide to make the interception, and because of that, Borders is able to go ahead and get Gardner-Webb back into the end zone. That is a great leadership play there by Pennington and Borders. You needed something like that desperately. And it looks like Gardner-Webb's
they're going to go for 2.
Going to try to counter that 2-point conversion Western Illinois got a couple minutes ago.
So off the 26-yard touchdown to Borders on his 4th touchdown grab of the season. Pennington on the 2-point conversion. He's on throw and gives it to Lowe for the 2-point conversion. And Gardner-Webb, what a response to come down, drive down the field on 4th down. And now it is an 11-point ball game.
You desperately needed that for Gardner-Webb. Desperately needed that. And a great response by this offense that has really looked flat, especially in the passing game. But they got it going there. And it was everyone, some good catches by Chris Lofton, back-to-back catches. Then you had the touchdown grab by Caleb Borders, and then Anthony Lowe on the 2-point conversion catch. All 3 of those starting wide receivers had a big part to play in that drive, and all 3 of them were able to step up to the plate and convert. But if you're Western Illinois, no need to freak out right now. You know this Gardner-Webb offense is really strong this season, and you knew that eventually they may have had a response. And so you just need to go ahead and continue to play ball. And the way Holman has been running, I think you still have the upper hand right now, arguably, if you're Western Illinois, because you may be able to really just churn out the rest of this clock by just giving it to Holman on the ground.
Yeah, 22 rushes for 97 yards and a touchdown for Holman, and they're going to fair catch that one right at the 3. So Gardner-Webb, a nice response to that Western Illinois drive downfield. They go for the 2-point conversion, and they're able to match Western. So now a 29-18 score after what a drive. 8 plays, 75 yards.
Yeah, just a good response by Gardner-Webb. Still a lot of work to do right now for the running Bulldogs. I think one thing that would be really big for Gardner-Webb here is if they could force a turnover, either an interception or a fumble. They've gotten kind of close here at times. They had that one earlier where it looked like a fumble, but it was called an incomplete forward pass. And so Gardner-Webb has been on the positive end of the turnover margin this year. If they can go ahead and add on to that, that'd be huge.
Brings the energy back into this Gardner-Webb crowd. Holman, a nice first down run as far as escaping that defensive front, and he's able to bounce forward for about 2. 35 seconds left and approaching what could be the final play of the third quarter.
Don't have to snap it here if you're Western Illinois. There's about a second difference on the game clock and the play clock, with the game clock closer to 0 by a second.
And head coach Joe Davis right there next to our official at the top left corner of our screen. They're going to let that clock drain out to end the third quarter. But Western Illinois, they drive down the field, they double dip, they get the touchdown. Gardner-Webb comes back, and they answer with a touchdown and 2-point conversion of themselves. The final 15 with the playoffs on the line when we come back. 29-18 your score. Western Illinois out front right now. And Bryson, as we look to the other game in the OVC Big South, Tennessee Tech driving. They had a touchdown in their hands, but dropped it in the end zone as they're tied at 17 with just under 18 seconds to go.
Yeah, so they're going to go ahead and attempt a field goal any second here. Now, UT Martin, they need to win to get the automatic qualifier to go to the playoffs, and there's no way they can get in as an at-large, whereas Tennessee Tech in already, but Gardner-Webb probably needs the Golden Eagles to win that game to get in. But going back to here at Spangler Stadium, Gardner-Webb, they need to make a comeback here in the fourth.
They stop Holman initially, but he's able to move the pile forward and get to about 3 yards, so a good pickup there on third down. He's going to be about a yard short right here approaching. It is going to be a third down this time.
There have just been times where I've seen Holman get wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, and I say, okay,
free.
I look down at my notes just to see what to say, and then I look up, and he's still running and moving the pile forward. I mean, he's done a fantastic job of getting a lot of yards after contact.
So bringing up a 3rd and 2, 14-18 as we're just now starting the fourth quarter. Carswell Hill sends a man in motion as Duncan gives it up to Holman up the middle as he tries to get the first down, and initial marker says he's not going to get it. Tennessee Tech now lining up for a field goal to try and win the game, trying to go Kevin Harlan style of 2 games at one time. Tennessee Tech to win the game now on the field goal.
Yeah, great stop there by Gardner-Webb to go ahead and force a 4th down. And
kick is up, and it is good. So Tennessee Tech will win the football game over UT Martin, and that is good news for Gardner-Webb.
I will say there is 11 seconds left in that one, so UT Martin can maybe pull off some magic. But as you said, if it does hold, then that's a much-needed result for Gardner-Webb. So it looks like the tides are starting to shift here in Boiling Springs and in Cookeville for Gardner-Webb. We'll see if the Running Bulldogs can take full advantage here.
They'll take that as a bounce for Western Illinois down to about the 26-yard line. So that's where Gardner-Webb will start off. So that's exactly what they needed to do defensively. They got the 3 and out, as we do have a Western Illinois player down back at the 26-yard line. So this is going to take us into a break ourselves. 29-18 your score. Western Illinois out front. Right now, currently your score 29-18. Western Illinois out front as we look here toward the Tennessee Tech UT Martin game. A last-ditch effort from UT Martin. It is incomplete, and that will be the ball game. Tennessee Tech will win the OVC. UT Martin will lose, and as we mentioned, that is good news for Gardner-Webb. As we look now to here in Boiling Springs, coming up here, Pennington is going to load this one up. He finds Borders, but a flag is going to be called. That's an easy one there.
Yeah, he just kind of shoved him down there and doesn't get any more obvious than that. And so, nice job here by Gardner-Webb. It really does feel like Ford, things are starting to go Gardner-Webb's way here, both home and around the country. It's going to be interesting to see how these final 13 minutes play out. Gardner-Webb still not the favorite right now, I'd say, in this one. But if they can go ahead and get on the board here again, that would make it really, really interesting.
So 13:08, 29-18 your score. Both teams with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Pennington in the gun with Greasock to his right. Brings low and motion from right to left to Springs behind him, sets up a screen with Lowe, gets a good block from Greasock. Here's Lowe, springs forward, puts a nice tackler on, Lowe to across the 40, and Gardner-Webb is in business.
Here we go. I mean, it's just getting better and better right now for Gardner-Webb. There is a player down near the 50-yard line for Western Illinois, and so.
But how about Anthony Lowe right there in the block that he got there from Greasock to be able to hold on there and get Lowe free. But as they tend to a Western Illinois player, Gardner-Webb now after, well, where it felt like all hope was starting to become lost on that fourth down that they were facing on their the Western Illinois side, and able to find Borders for the touchdown. Their defense has a 3-and-out, and now Gardner-Webb starting to move the football downfield.
Well, here's the thing, and we'll go kind of zoom out and then zoom in a little bit here. There's 130 teams-ish in the FCS Ford, and only 24 get to the playoffs. If you want to be one of the top 24 teams to get in and thus the top 10%, you're going to have to make plays like that. You're going to have to make big-time plays on those 4th and 7s to get a touchdown to continue things going. And if you get in the playoffs, that's no joke. And here's the thing right now, Ford. They're moving the ball well. They've done what they've needed to do. And despite being down 11, they're actually now outgaining Western Illinois by 9 yards on the afternoon.
Yeah, 294 to 283. Western Illinois leading in that category. So as that Western Illinois player that was down, Gardner-Webb, pump fake, Pennington throws a deep ball. That one's intended back for Borders over the shoulder, and that one is incomplete right about the 5-yard line. And, boy, that would have brought the house down.
Yeah, he had him there. I mean, he beat him by around a step. The ball was just a little bit off, and the coverage was good enough to have made it pretty hard to try to thread the needle there. Here's the thing. You can take a field goal in this situation, too. That wouldn't make it a one-possession game again after Gardner-Webb made that 2-point conversion.
11-point ball game here, now facing a 2nd and 10 from the 39-yard line. Need to get to the 29. Pennington gives to Greasock. Greasock pushes the pile, goes right guard, and gets to the 35. So a good second down pickup of 5, and this will bring up a 3rd and 5.
This is right outside VRL's range, but knowing how Coach Reisert likes to operate, he likes to go for it on 4th down. He's not afraid to run an offense that is very much based around going for it on 4th down, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is a 4-down territory for Gardner-Webb here.
Got to think of 2 maybe quick plays, maybe give it to Greasock here to set up a 4th and short. They play action to Greasock, Pennington on the near side, and a late flag comes in, and this is going to go against Western Illinois.
I think they're going to call a defensive hold here, if I had to guess, on Don Paul Keefe. That's that freshman cornerback that they have, and he's going up against a more veteran player like Chris Lofton, and so a little bit surprised he actually hasn't been exposed a little bit more here today, as it looked like there was some kind of tugging on the jersey there near the sideline.
It looked like as Lofton was coming back to the ball and thrown out of bounds. Pennington throwing the direction of Lofton. So it's a roughing the passer on top of it as well. So they will accept that one. So 2 fouls by the defense, 1 on that hold or defensive pass interference. But the roughing the passer is the one that Gardner-Webb will accept, and this will move him into the red zone.
Well, here we go, Ford. I mean, this is the part of the field where Gardner-Webb at times has struggled in this season, toward the bottom of the conference in red zone conversions. And so now's your opportunity to go ahead and try to turn things around a little bit here. And if you can go ahead and make a big-time play, I mean, that's going to be big for Gardner-Webb.
Pennington has time, going to throw into the end zone. That one's caught by Lofton into the end zone for the touchdown, and Gardner-Webb answers, running back down the field, and they find the end zone again.
Well, talk about threading the needle right there by Cole Pennington. Multiple defenders in the near vicinity of that one, and it was a great catch as well by Lofton to go ahead and get Gardner-Webb on the board again. Look at this one, folks. Got good protection and really 2 or 3 guys that could have made the play there for Western Illinois, but he put it right on the money. Great concentration as well by Lofton, and offense staying out on the field trying to make this a 3-point game.
And as you said, it threaded the needle right here. Now for the 2-point conversion with Greasock to his right, Pennington in the gun to make it a 3-point ball game. Pennington steps up, throws, and did he get the foot down? He did not. Had it and was able to catch that one. They're going to say he wasn't able to control the football. Got to wonder if Gardner-Webb will look to review this to see if he did get the foot down in time.
I would here if I were Gardner-Webb. I mean, we're pretty far away from where the catch occurred, so we may not have the best look. Here's certainly a better angle here. And still bobbling.
Yeah, I don't think when it came down by Anthony Lowe, if he was able to get that foot down in time. He's saying he did. The entire Gardner-Webb bench is looking at the replay board, and they're saying that is a catch. But they are going to review this one, and when we come back, we will see if that is going to be reversed or if it will stand. Gardner-Webb making a comeback here in this fourth quarter on this Saturday afternoon. So officials have deemed that that ball is going to be incomplete. Anthony Lowe just bobbled a bit too much there, Bryson.
Yeah, and I just was still bobbling it a little bit when that foot came down. It's just not enough to overturn it necessarily. But here we go for it. I mean, Gardner-Webb has the momentum right now, and they're going to have to try to get a defensive stop here. And even if Western Illinois comes away with a field goal, it's still going to be a one-possession game.
Fair call there at the 12. 29-24 is the score here. And this will bring Case and Carswell back out once again, where they went 3 and out their last time on a good defensive effort from Gardner-Webb, one of their best of the day.
Yeah, we may have done too much scoreboard watching, but I do have 2 updates. Richmond did beat William & Mary, so that does knock out William & Mary from playoff contention. And then New Hampshire beats Maine. And so that very likely puts in the Wildcats of New Hampshire into the playoffs. And so a split result there if you're looking at it through Gardner-Webb's perspective. But going back to the game here, Ford, it's going to be really interesting. I think if you're Western Illinois right now, I got to keep it on the ground with Holman and just hope that he can churn out these extra yards to try to run the clock all the way down.
1st and 10 from the 25. Carswell's going to load this one up deep, and no flag, so incomplete. Trying to tend that one down the field. I believe that was Tristan Duncan.
Here's the crazy thing, Ford, right now is that Gardner-Webb actually outgaining Western Illinois 249 to 187 through the air. And so this was a Western Illinois team that we knew how great their passing offense was. And we saw that in the first half, but it's really stagnated here at the worst time for the Leathernecks.
11:56 to go. 2nd and 10. They give to Holman, and hard tackle there right at the legs at the 25-yard line. And see again, who else? Andre Crawley Jr. there coming off excited after that one, and now brings up a 3rd and long for this Leathernecks offense. Can Gardner-Webb pull something off right here and go back-to-back 3 and outs to set their offense up once again?
That would be huge. I mean, this defense has just completely turned it around compared to what we saw in that third quarter. In that third quarter, Western Illinois was running all over them, but now they've made some nice adjustments. They're getting a good amount of pressure there in the offensive backfield, and WIU is a little bit frazzled right now.
Carswell steps up, good pressure, and met immediately on the far side, incomplete. And how about the Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs defense coming in clutch? The last 2 defensive drives, 3 and outs back-to-back for the Leathernecks.
Let's take a look at it again. Nice play there defensively, Josiah Harris. We talked with him about how that defensive backfield, those guys have bonded this season, that they all look out for each other, and that he says when one player eats, the other ones are so glad that they play so well. And so good job there by him. They had some miscues there but towards the beginning of the game with some of those play-action passes, but here in these last couple of minutes, they have been locked down.
Not too long ago, Bryson, it was a 29-10 ball game as Anthony Lowe makes the fair catch at the 27-yard line. 29-10 was the score. It was a 4th down for Gardner-Webb. The fans were stunned. They couldn't believe what was happening. But since then, they have rattled off 14 in a row, back-to-back 3 and outs by their defensive unit, and now they get the ball back with 11 minutes to go.
Well, we talked about how it's a gut check time for Gardner-Webb. Now it's gut check time for Western Illinois. Momentum has completely fallen out of your favor now. The offense has the ball with a lot of time left to go here in this fourth quarter, and so you say, okay, can we go ahead and hold on to this lead? Because they've struggled in these close games here in conference play this season. Can they make the exception here?
Here's Holmes up to the 30 and pushes his way to the 31. So a pickup of about 3.
And, man, those 2-point conversions, that may make or break this game here, Ford. Because, I mean, you look at it right now. If Lowe had gotten that catch there to make it 29-26, and a VRL field goal would tie it. But right now, Gardner-Webb, you're going to have to go for the end zone.
Pennington steps back, going to unload this one deep for Adopte. Try to go up for one hand, and no flag is called. We do have a bunch of late flags coming back where Pennington threw the football. We do have a helmet off. I want to say that is Blake Bradford, the left tackle. Going to see if maybe we have a hold, or wasn't able to see it back behind the line of scrimmage if Pennington was hit late.
This may be a roughing the passer, actually. Both of the flags were thrown right around the 25-yard line. How about that? They do call it against Western Illinois. And we saw that at the beginning of the game. Those penalties were hurting Gardner-Webb at the worst possible time, but now Western Illinois is committing some bad penalties. Camera kind of panned away too early before we saw the foul or penalty there against Pennington. Nice effort by Adopte.
And trying to use all of his 6'1" height to go up there and grab that one, and the length that he has on himself. Just not able to bring that in, but however, it does bring up a 1st and 10 after the penalty. Pennington looks left. That one's caught on the dot by Borders at the 40 and tackled right down toward maybe the 39, but they're going to say he was stopped at the 40. Good pickup, and Gardner-Webb once again moving the football downfield.
I mean, this defensive backs for Western Illinois, they're just getting beat right now. And in that first half, they were on top of everything, but now it's just kind of falling apart for them.
Holmes, the floodgate starting to open for him just a bit and getting some space where we saw in that first half had nowhere to go. We always run up the middle, maybe get a yard or two, but we've seen here as of late starting to get a little more space now to start to get some open running lanes.
Well, I mean, that's the big thing is that there's a big difference between getting 2 to 3 yards every carry and getting 4 to 5 yards every carry. And Quayshawn Holmes is now starting to push the run game more towards that 4 to 5 yards per carry end.
Pennington going to throw this one deep again and nearly intercepted as Gullery was there. The junior had a chance to pick that one off. Some miscommunication on the far side on that Gardner-Webb offense.
Yeah, he's actually a transfer from Murray State, so has previous FCS experience. And miscue there as the receiver kind of stopped.
Had a chance at it, got a hand on it there.
Yeah.
Just not able to bring it in, intended for Anthony Lowe.
Lowe, the closest man in the neighborhood there. Azorion Bonner was the other man in coverage guarding Lowe there. Did a really good job of disrupting the route.
3rd and 6 here now. Need a few more to really get into Charlie VRL territory. Pennington under pressure. Can't take a sack here. Pennington able to escape and throw it out of bounds, intended for Borders. And that's one of the last things Pennington could have had is at least taking a sack there, and Pennington is slow to get up there.
Does appear to be okay. So, ball at Western Illinois' 36. I'm going to put my coach's hat on and say, here's what I would do. I'll keep the offense out there, try to get Western Illinois on a hard count to potentially set up a 4th and 1. And if you get them on the hard count, then you have the option of going for it on the 4th and short or kicking the field goal that would be within VRL's range.
Here we go. Big moment in the game. 9:15 to go, down by 4. Need to get to the 30-yard line, and we have a stoppage. A flag is down. This might be a false start.
I think it is. Western Illinois was pointing towards Gardner-Webb, and it is.
And that is a tough break for Gardner-Webb. They might, let's see if they're going to punt this one away. They're trying to get the offense to come off the field. So, yeah, I believe they're going to punt this one back and try and pin Gardner-Webb back deep. They're actually going to bring in the other punter in Jackson Dorr for this one.
Yeah, Dorr's actually seen more snaps as the season has gone on, and this is kind of Dorr's specialty is trying to pin opponents deep in short field situations. And I agree with the call here. You got plenty of time to work with if you're Gardner-Webb. Your defense has been locked down. Go ahead and play the field position battle.
End over end and caught right at the 3. What a play there as Robinson was there to down that one, and that pins as Jackson Dorr able to accomplish that feat. Western Illinois back deep.
Yeah, great special teams play there by Gardner-Webb, and ultimately punting it there ends up working out in favor of the running Bulldogs. And now here we go. Defensively, Western Illinois looked strong there in that third quarter, and you got to think maybe that offense can come out and go flying, but we'll see here. Coming out of this media break, it's still WIU by 5 here on ESPN+.
29-24 your score. Western Illinois out front. So after the penalty by Andrew Threat, that is going to back up Gardner-Webb to punt the ball away, and they're able to, by the great work of Jackson Dorr, pin Western Illinois back at their 4-yard line. So a big moment in the game for a offense that has gone 3 and out in back-to-back drives.
There's the obvious as well that for Western Illinois, got to be careful not to take a safety right now. They're staying in shotgun, so that is a possibility.
Get that to Holman up front and able to break a couple tackles, which he's done pretty much all day here, Bryson.
I mean, he's definitely been the bright spot for this Western Illinois offense, and he's just done a great job here in the backfield, and that has definitely been the case as he is now over 1,000 yards on the season. So congrats to him on the 1,000-yard season here, and he's definitely earned it for that Leatherneck squad.
Yeah, 106 yards, or make that now 107 yards on that last rush to put him over 100. The first time that Gardner-Webb allows a 100 yards rushing on the ground since 3 weeks ago. They've done it back-to-back weeks, as we've talked about throughout the game. 2nd and 9 from the 5. Carswell nearly had that one batted down. I believe they may have got a piece at the line of scrimmage there, Bryson.
That's what the referee is saying. It was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and a good defensive bat down right there by Gardner-Webb. Take a look at it there. Yep, did get a piece there. That may have been O'Berry, I think, who got his hands on it.
So now brings up a 3rd and 9. Fans in our student section on their feet, making some noise for this Gardner-Webb defense. Can they go 3 drives in a row with all 3 and outs? Big moment in the game.
A little bit of a dilemma right now as well if you're Western Illinois. Probably need to pass here to get the first down, but you're still risking that safety by dropping back and passing.
They give the screen. Cuts it back out. He has some room and a first down. Western Illinois. What a play by Damari Davis off the screen. Got a nice block upfield. Tightrope down the sideline, and enough for a first down.
And we haven't really talked about him a ton today, and really that is just, it just shows how Gardner-Webb has, for the most part, neutralized him. But he's a fantastic athlete. Again, came into today 4th in the conference in terms of receiving yards, and he has definitely been the main factor in their pass game so far this season. And if they can get him going, then Western Illinois may be able to actually put this game away.
That was a great work by Tristan Duncan there, giving Davis the room to be able to spring free. They pitch out to Holman and breaks 1 tackle, then steps out of bounds right at the 24-yard line. But Western Illinois avoided what could have been a big disaster, punting deep in their own end zone and able to get the first down off the quick and shifty moves of Tristan Duncan. Now they're chewing off some more clock.
And here's the thing for Western Illinois right now is that you probably can't run this clock out completely, but with every first down you get, it prevents Gardner-Webb from potentially having 2 more drives in the game. And so if they can get a first down here and maybe another one, then they're really limiting Gardner-Webb in terms of how many drives they get at the end of the game.
Both teams, as of note, still with 3 timeouts remaining. They send Duncan in motion. Carswell under pressure. He's sacked! They get there on time, and who else? It's Robert Holtz.
Well, they've been close so afternoon for Gardner-Webb. They have not been able to quite get there, but if there's going to be a guy that's going to do it, it's Robert Holtz, top 10 in the FCS in sacks, and he just straight up beats that right tackle there to go ahead and get the sack. And again, it's a freshman right tackle in Sulzberger, and you're going up against arguably the best defensive end in the conference. And so there's going to be a little bit of a mismatch there, and Robert Holtz took advantage.
So brings up a 3rd and 13, 6:31 to go, clock ticking. Again, another big moment in the game. They're going to give to Holman on the draw. Holman now springs free. Holman, he's going to be about a yard or 2 short of the marker. He had the space there, Bryce, but great work by the defensive backs of Gardner-Webb to bring him down.
I thought he was going to get it for a moment. I mean, it opened up for him, and if you're Gardner-Webb, you know, you're not expecting for someone to run it on a 3rd and long situation like that. And Holman, if he had been able to break that tackle there in open space, that would have been a first down.
So great work by that Gardner-Webb defense. Now Anthony Lowe back to receive this one again. to give Gardner-Webb another chance offensively as they find themselves down by 5. It's 5:45 to go here in the fourth. Letting as much clock tick off. With 1 on the play clock, they'll punt this one off for Anthony Lowe. Calls a fair catch right at the 36-yard line, and that's where Cole Pennington will set up shop.
Well, here you go. For Gardner-Webb, maybe your last drive, at least your last full drive of the game. You still got all 3 of your timeouts right now, so you got plenty of time to work with. You can keep it on the ground if you want to here for Gardner-Webb as well, just because of how much time you have left. But it's going to be interesting to see how fast this drive goes because, as I said, there's a chance that they'll have another drive after this, but there's just still so much that could happen here that you just don't know really how these last couple of minutes are going to play out.
So Cole Pennington now steps up. Pennington throws deep for Borders, and it's intercepted. Disaster for Gardner-Webb and Cole Pennington as that one is going to be picked up by Gullery. Remember, he had the opportunity in that last drive to pick it off. This time he doesn't miss, and he turns the ball over.
Well, he had him open there for a second, but may have actually overthrown him just a little bit. We take a look at the replay here, trying to find Borders, and, yeah, just overthrew it and also into double coverage as well, and that just really hurts right there. And, you know, Gullery's had a good season here this year for Western Illinois, 47 tackles. The only silver lining if you're Gardner-Webb there is that is basically the same as a punt, and it doesn't take a ton of time off the clock.
So basically it's back to where it all started once
Yes.
again. So Holman got that first down, and now we're back here, just took off about maybe 20 seconds there on the clock. So Western Illinois would take over after the interception, and Holman will squirt forward, moves the pile, keeps it going. He's still on his feet. They never actually took him down, and he'll get down to the 30-yard line. So a good first down run, chews up some clock. So Cole Pennington with that interception, his first on the day, and it came at a bad time for that running Bulldogs offense.
If I'm Western Illinois for it, I would actually argue there his forward progress was never stopped. I mean, I would.
Oh, by the way, he's moved the pile a lot today.
Yes, and so he's a running back that you can't necessarily count down and out there, and so Western Illinois may have deserved to get a couple more yards there.
Holman, another broken tackle, and another first down for the Leathernecks as they chew up more clock. And we got one player coming up a little bit late. That's Alex Williams. He appears to be okay, but just some late scuffling there on the ground with some of the running Bulldogs.
I think Williams is winning a penalty. I think he's arguing that the Gardner-Webb defender there may have actually kind of shoved him as he was trying to get up.
Couple subs coming in and out here. So Western Illinois, 1st and 10, now with under 4 minutes to go from the 37. Their give to Holman. Sidesteps his way, this time Gardner-Webb. And Holman still stays on his feet there for a while, even with the pile. Only a gain of 1, but it's been really tougher to bring down Marco Holman today.
I mean, he's just a guy that you have to swarm the ball every time. I mean, it's just almost impossible just to bring him down with one guy. You're going to have 2 or 3 defenders on him every time if you want to go ahead and bring him down.
And that clock just keeps ticking. 3:18 to go.
I think Coach Reisert's wanting to save those timeouts for the actual drive, but if Western Illinois gets another first down, then you may have to start using them on defense.
They do have 4 at least guaranteed stoppages with the 2-minute timeout. Here comes Jackson Marshall coming up with the blitz, and that's able to at least stop Holman from accelerating the way he would like. It is a gain of 1, so now comes the biggest third down of the game with 2:51 to go, and we might have a timeout here by Gardner-Webb. Or excuse me, no, that's actually Holman. Holman is actually down right there at the 40.
Well, and here's the thing is that because he is down injured right now, he will not be able to play this next third down. So even if it's something as simple as a cramp and he says, like, hey, I'm fine, he will not be able to be in there on this upcoming third down play.
And he's been a workhorse today.
Yes, been a workhorse, and also one of those things where if you give it to him and keep it on the ground, you know, even if he didn't get the first down, he'd at least be able to drain the clock some more at the very least, and that's certainly going to hurt Western Illinois here on this next play. And Holman,
that's a tough break.
Yeah, a little ginger, actually, as he heads over to the sideline there, needing some assistance right now.
137 on the day, a touchdown, averaging about 4.5 yards per carry. It feels like it's been more just based on the way he has carried these piles. Push up right here. So another third down coming up for this Gardner-Webb defense. They're 39.2 defensively.
58th in the FCS. That's right there in the middle of that pack nationally. And so there have been a few times here and there where they've struggled in terms of getting these third down stops. And you figure it's a 3rd and 6 coming up. This is also a decision time for Western Illinois. Do you go to the air and risk giving Gardner-Webb more time if it's incomplete, but you still have a better chance of getting the first down if you throw the ball here? It's going to be hard to tell.
Well, either way, Western Illinois' offense on third down, 27%. That is dead last in the OVC.
Yeah, and that's something that not going to be too comforting right now, that's for certain, for if you're Western Illinois. I'm going to be really curious to see if they keep this on the ground or if they throw the ball here.
They do bring in Brinston Williams, who has had 2 carries today. Crowd on their feet making some noise here in Boiling Springs. 3rd and 6, they need to get to the 47.
May go with a hard count here, too. Got to keep that in mind.
And they're trying to do just that right here. 3rd and 7, a screen play out on the far side. Escapes one tackler and tripped up and going to be about a 2, maybe 3 yards short of the first down. Great play there by Damari Davis. Remember, he had that screen from earlier where he was able to sprint forward for a first down.
And I think that's the right compromise there in that situation for Western Illinois. Go ahead and throw a screen pass, try to get it outside, get some extra yards while still staying in bounds. And that'll go ahead and take us to that 2-minute timeout. And forward, here it is for Gardner-Webb. Still got all 3 of her timeouts, trying to go ahead and keep her playoff hopes alive. Got one more 2-minute drill to do it.
29-24, the final 2 minutes on the other side on this regular season finale in the OVC. 29-24 is your score. Western Illinois leads the way over Gardner-Webb in this FCS OVC regular season finale. 4th down upcoming as Western Illinois will punt this one away. Anthony Lowe is back to receive. And we'll see if he's had a couple opportunities today to return the ball, a couple fair catches. Had one where he tried to catch and was immediately blown up. He had an injury, came off the field, able to return. But a big moment here as they punt this one away under 2 minutes to go. Lowe is going to be able to return this one. Lowe sidesteps his way, cuts back to the far side. Flag is down. Anthony Lowe down the sideline, tight ropes down the 50. The punter to beat, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 40. But Bryson, I believe this might be coming back.
Yeah, this is coming back. That may have been a blindside block there by one of the Gardner-Webb returnmen. And, oh, man.
That's been his best return on the day.
Yes, and it would have set him up in Western Illinois territory. Take a look at the play here. Yeah, Luke Gilbertson hits him in the back right there, and refs are always looking for that on a punt return, and they're going to probably bring this one back.
Yeah, getting Bonner there.
It's going to be a long way to
knocked down. It's a long walk back.
And that's going to be a long.
So that is a tough break for Gardner-Webb, which would have been in prime position right about the 35, 40-yard line on enemy territory. So this will back things up. So here comes Cole Pennington. His last drive was an interception downfield, and the last minute 45, which could be possibly, depending on how the outcome of this game goes and how the outcome of other games across the country. Could be the last game for the running Bulldogs. Cole Pennington, as we talked about, the son of NFL quarterback Chad Pennington, in the gun here on a 1st and 10 from their own 10. Need to go 90 yards. Pennington, that one is caught, and that will move the chains. Great grab by Jack Reynolds.
Good grab there. I think he had a receiver wide open on the left sideline there, and if he had hit him in stride, that may have been a touchdown.
It was Lofton. The entire coaches next to us were cheering on to throw that ball. Pennington, he has time to run. He's going to throw. That one's caught there by Borders. Puts on a move at the 40. That one's wrapped up, able to break a tackle and get out of bounds at the 44.
Sideline is your friend right now for Gardner-Webb. If you can, try to get out of bounds to stop the clock.
So a minute 21 to go. Allows Gardner-Webb an opportunity to slow things down. They have 3 of their timeouts remaining.
That actually allows them to keep it on the ground for a play or two if they really want to, just because they have those timeouts in their pocket right now.
Griesbach is that running back that is in the game for Gardner-Webb. 1st and 10 from the 43. Pennington, they bring the pressure. Gardner-Webb is able to pick it up nicely. That one's caught down the sideline, and that's a 1st down again. Jack Reynolds, that will move the chains.
How about that? I mean, we've got Jack Reynolds making some big plays here late. 2 first down catches for Gardner-Webb, and he's a guy that really had no reps at the beginning of the season in those non-conference games, but here he is. They feel confident enough to put him in here on the potential game-winning drive, and he's come up clutch.
So, again, all 3 of their timeouts remain. This drive started from the 10. They're now on Western Illinois' 45. Pennington throws this one for Lofton. Back shoulder throw. Incomplete.
Just underthrew it a tiny bit. If he had put another yard on that one, Lofton would have been able to make the back shoulder catch there.
So that will stop the clock after the incompletion. A minute 15 to go. Gardner-Webb down by 5. They need to get a touchdown here to keep potentially their season alive and to get the win today.
I know I've already mentioned this, but looking at the situation Gardner-Webb is in right now, how big were those 2-point conversion attempts for both teams? I mean, it's made the difference between needing to get to the end zone now.
There might be a free play here when one player jump offside. Don't see any flags here momentarily as Pennington throws that one out of bounds. There is a flag that came in late. Got to wonder if they saw that from one of the left tackles.
That's going to be a hold. That's going to be a hold against Andrew Threet, the left tackle there.
And that is tough. After what was a promising start to this drive, a couple incompletions. Now we'll see if they will accept the penalty. They are talking to Joe Davis to see if he wants to accept that, which would make it a 3rd and 10. They will accept it, so it's going to make it a 2nd and 20 now.
That pass protection's just not been there at times today, Ford. I mean, they've given up 5 sacks, multiple holding calls against Gardner-Webb. And I think, honestly, you just kind of have to learn how to let go of the defensive lineman in scenarios like that. I know you really don't want to take a sack, but still.
Pennington throws. That one's caught by Lofton on the near side of the 40. So they get all that penalty yardage back and some. And now it brings up a 3rd down and about, I want to say 8 here, maybe actually 4 here.
Yeah, that's actually a really good play there. Nice job getting upfield and then getting out of bounds. And here's the other thing, Ford, is that since this is 4-down territory and you got all your timeouts, again, you can keep it on the ground this play if you really want to. And again, Western Illinois is probably thinking pass, and so the box may not be that stacked, and that may give some room to Griesbach, who's currently in the backfield, and both teams now heading back to their sidelines.
Have a stoppage here, and as that player they went out of bounds, so not sure what the stoppage is for exactly. This might be a timeout by Western Illinois. But again, looking at the 3rd down conversion today for this season, it is 32%. They're currently right now 3 for 12 on 3rd downs today.
Yeah, and that 3rd down percentage at 32.3%, towards the bottom quarter in the FCS, 6th in the OVC Big South. And now's the time to go ahead. Got to get 4 yards here on these next 2 plays to try to keep your season alive.
Minute 4 to go. 3 timeouts remaining still for Gardner-Webb. Down by 5, need a touchdown. Pennington gives to Griesach. Griesach moves the pile forward to the 35.
He got it. That's a first down.
And that is a first down.
Because it's a first down, clock will stop momentarily to move the chains as well, and so you don't have to burn a timeout here if you're Gardner-Webb.
58 seconds to go.
Gardner-Webb going fast here.
50 seconds to go. Pennington throws this one, and coming from behind, got to wonder if we might have a flag there. Gardner-Webb thinks there should be one, and there is not. Chris Reiser pleading to the officials on the near side. He can't believe it, and they're going to get a flag on Reiser here. They're going to throw one. They're probably going to call unsportsmanlike conduct on Reiser, and he can't believe it.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
We saw that in the UT Martin game, how they threw multiple unsportsmanlikes against Gardner-Webb. Oh, my goodness.
And the fans are giving it to the officials here. So an unsportsmanlike conduct is going to be called on Reiser, and that's a big one.
Well, they're not going to back it up, and so I think it is just a warning here if you're Gardner-Webb.
Okay, so they did take it back. We don't have the official's mic, but either way, Pennington now on a 2nd and 10. That one's thrown across the middle, and that one is caught at the 25, dragging a defender, and that's going to be enough for a first down again.
Clock stopped at 40 seconds. You could go ahead and quickly run a play if you want to because the chains are being moved as we speak.
40 seconds to go. And a timeout is called. So 29-24. Timeout Gardner-Webb. And we saw there for a moment Chris Reiser, they threw the flag on him. We weren't able to have the officials' mic to say that they were not going to maybe get that off as a warning there. So they took that flag back. And Reiser, remember we saw there earlier in the 3rd quarter where Gardner-Webb was moving downfield. Gardner-Webb did not sub, but Western Illinois was able to sub. And the officials were holding the ball as if both teams did. Reiser was in the official's face, so that probably led to that happening, being thrown there once again, as Reiser has been all in the face of the officials all day.
Yeah, and it kind of shows that the referees, they're not going to necessarily allow Reiser to keep yelling at him or keep jawing at him right now. But here we go for Gardner-Webb. 1st and 10, just outside the red zone. You still got 2 timeouts if you're Gardner-Webb. And again, I know I've already mentioned this, but again, the sideline is your friend right now. If you're Pennington, if you're any of these receivers, if you're Griesach, you have to keep that in mind.
1st and 10 now. Pennington steps up, throws. That one's caught and utilizes that sideline on the near side. Caleb Borders, as that will move him right there into the red zone.
Probably bring up 3rd and 6 here, it looks like. You can take your time right now for Gardner-Webb. Don't have to rush things. It's a good opportunity to catch your breath.
2nd and 10 from the 20. Or make that 2nd and 7, that is. Pennington gives to Griesach. Griesach tries to lower the shoulder, keeps the pile moving. Does he get out of bounds? And he does. So they keep it on the ground, milking some more clock.
Well, that's just grit right there by Griesach because he really should have been tackled in bounds there, but he just kept turning his feet, just kept pushing his body towards the sideline to go ahead and stop the clock.
29 seconds to go. And it's going to bring up a 3rd and about 4 here.
Play clock running low. Got to go now if you're Gardner-Webb.
29 seconds to go. 3rd and 4. From the 18, Pennington looks, throws back corner of the end zone. Some contact there, and no flag. Looks like Anthony Lowe maybe just some contact that those two just had in the end zone. Nothing really too much there to warrant a penalty.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been enough to make a difference, at least not in my opinion.
2 defenders going the ball, and great work there by Guillory there in the backfield. So here we go, 4th down and 5. Season on the line for the running Bulldogs. Got to get to the 14 to move the chains.
They're going to have to call timeout because they tried to call an audible, and they were running out of time on the play clock.
That will be their second charge timeout. They'll have one remaining. So, Bryson, as we talked about it, already we've seen today what's going on around the country. Tennessee Tech getting the win over UT Martin late in that game. Gardner-Webb needed that to at least move forward to have a chance to move into the FCS playoffs. But as we talked about it all day, you got to take care of business here at home this afternoon.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the season right here for it. I mean, you know, as a college football player, you put in so much effort 24/7 year-round. So many workouts, so many lifts, so many conditioning sessions, practices, film time, and you just put in work after work after work, and it's so much blood, sweat, and tears and so much effort, and it all comes down to this. One play, fourth down. Offsides would give you a first down right here, and this is a Gardner-Webb team that's pretty strong on fourth downs.
And another timeout is going to be called by Western Illinois. I want to note here, Bryce, remember the last time Gardner-Webb faced a situation pretty similar yardage-wise when it came down to fourth down, ended up being a touchdown. They found Caleb Borders in the back of the end zone.
No, yeah, they've done a good job on fourth down here this afternoon. One of two in that category right now, and that's allowed them to stay in that game. Was that fourth down conversion, which turned into a touchdown. And now we look at Western Illinois, their fourth down defense. Actually pretty decent, right? Or actually kind of towards the bottom half right now in terms of the FCS. And so it's a Gardner-Webb team that's done well on fourth downs and a Western Illinois defense that has struggled to stop teams on fourth down. And so got to think
last in the country now currently.
Got to think that may help Gardner-Webb in this situation, but it is fourth, and I'm going to probably say either 5 or at the very least a long 4 coming up here.
Gardner-Webb 1 for 2 so far today on fourth downs, one of which ended up in a sack. The other one ended up in a touchdown. Crowd on their feet from the 18. They need to get to the 14 to move the chains. Pennington in the gun with Greasock to his left. 24 seconds to go. Pennington throws right side. That one is caught by Lofton at the 10, and now move the chains.
Got one timeout for Gardner-Webb, but the clock is stopped to move the chains. You can go ahead and spike it here if you need to, if you want to keep that timeout.
Clock stopped now for the moment. Now it's running again. Pennington from the 10. Looks, has time. Sidesteps his way, breaks one tackle,
and
gets to the 7-yard line, and they're going to call timeout with 7 seconds to go. Got to wonder if maybe Pennington should have just thrown that in the back of the end zone and just lived for another down.
Yeah, because now a sack would end the game if they do take one, but there's 7 seconds left. If I were Gardner-Webb, I would ask to maybe take a look at the clock, too, to make sure there may not be an extra second or two that should be on there.
And that's the officials. They're having a conversation about that. We might see a change in the clock. And we're not able to hear exactly what the official is saying here. We'll see what the clock, if it will be moved. Currently right now at 7 seconds. And Gardner-Webb using their final timeout. But right now, Bryson, as I mentioned, a sack will end the game. But you got maybe 2 plays here. You got to go quick.
Got 2 shots to the end zone, and that's pretty much it. And on this play, you can't take a lot of time if you're Gardner-Webb. I mean, this is basically a 3-step drop at most if you're Pennington and letting it go right away because, you know, if it's incomplete, you need to make sure this play is quick enough to where you're going to have one more shot after this. Western Illinois, they still do have a timeout, by the way, so if they don't feel comfortable defensively, they can go ahead and pause things at least once.
Crowd on their feet, season on the line. 2nd and goal with 7 seconds to go. Gardner-Webb needs a touchdown. Pennington has time, throws. That one's caught short of the marker.
That's game.
And the clock is going to run out.
That's the one thing you couldn't let happen if you're Gardner-Webb is to be tackled inbounds. Oh, my goodness.
And Pennington couldn't believe it. He looked around as if he maybe thought he had a timeout left. And that is going to be the season for Gardner-Webb. And what a big win for Western Illinois as they come down Springs and get their first win here at Spangler Stadium.
Wow, that's a heartbreaker right there for Gardner-Webb. I mean, that's a heartbreaker. It really looked like that they were going to go ahead and maybe take advantage there and maybe gain some of the momentum, but they were really not able to.
And we have a little bit of a late scuffle here going between some teams there as they're trying to be separated.
Looks like they were able to separate them, thankfully, at least for the time being, but that's a tough one for Gardner-Webb. That's a really, really tough one. That's a tough way to end your season. And again, it was just a mistake there. You know, if you're gonna pass, you're gonna have to go to the end zone on that situation. You can't afford to have it inbounds with no timeouts left because that's not gonna get it done. And just a tough way to finish this season if you're Gardner-Webb.
So Cole Pennington, who had an opportunity to throw one at the back of the end zone, he ended up running the ball, which resulted in Gardner-Webb using their final timeout, and that time threw a quick 2-yard pass that was caught by Chris Lofton, but 5 yards short of the marker, and that is how the game will end, and that is how the season will end for the Running Bulldogs. But what a win for Western Illinois. 29-24 is your final score. We'll be right back with our Jersey Mike's post-game report with Bryson Burns and Ford Martin here on this Saturday afternoon. Welcome back to Boiling Springs here on our Jersey Mike's post-game report. Bryson Burns, Ford Martin here with you. A disappointing loss for Gardner-Webb. They had the opportunity, had to move 90 yards down the field. They started to move the ball downfield and then had a chance to win the game, but Cole Pennington took the 2-yard gain, which was almost going to be a sack. They had to use their final timeout. Then Cole Pennington throws a 2-yard pass to Caleb Borders. They had no timeouts remaining. They were not able to spike the ball quick enough, and that is going to do it for the game and the season for Gardner-Webb.
Yeah, just a tough way to end it there if you're Gardner-Webb. I mean, they really had the momentum there in the fourth quarter, and it felt like that they were starting to really move the ball. But you got to give a lot of credit to Western Illinois. I mean, they did a fantastic job really there, especially in that third quarter, really pulling away, gave them enough cushioning there to hold on in the fourth quarter. And Markel Holman, man, he was a monster there in the backfield. Yes, as we go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights from him, he is our player of the game. And man, oh man, he had quite an afternoon as he finishes the game with 33 carries for 137 rushing yards and a touchdown run as well, and also has 4 catches for 18 receiving yards. And so good job by him, and he was a guy that Gardner-Webb just could not bring down a lot of the times. I mean, there were times where, like there, I mean, he just keeps churning his feet forward, getting those few extra yards, just dragging defenders with him, and that allowed the entire offense to open up. We saw those play-action passes that were long gains for Western Illinois. Well, the reason why those worked out so well for the Leathernecks is because Gardner-Webb was so worried about the run because of how strong Holman was on the ground. It baited those linebackers in and those defensive backs in and allowed all the rest of their offense to really operate well within that. And Holman, I mean, just did so much, looking like a track athlete on that one on the hurdles. It is looking like a good afternoon for him. It finishes the season with over 1,000 yards, and we're going to take a look at his stats here in just a moment. But as we look at the final few shots here, was able to find the end zone one time as well, and you know, great run blocking as well by that Western Illinois offensive front. And talked about how it looked a little shaky there for that O-line for Western Illinois, but really for the most part, they did their job extremely well, and Holman was able to take advantage, and just a good game there by him, and you really have to give him a lot of credit.
That's actually where his day ended, too, on that tackle where he ended up actually getting hurt, limping off the field.
Yes.
But he left it all out on the field there, and looking right there, our Sunbelt Rentals player of the game, as we talked about it there, Bryson. 137 rushing yards, 1 touchdown on the day, and the average per carry 4.2, and just the afternoon that he was able to have really put the team on his back. And we've talked about it, he's the cowbell of this offense.
Yeah, I mean, he is definitely going to finish the season as one of the best running backs in the OVC Big South. I mean, and I would say he deserves to be named all-conference, especially after that performance. And you look at that final stats, and it's hard to believe, Ford, Gardner-Webb outgaining Western Illinois by more than 110 yards and still falling short WIU was able to take advantage with some nice long pass plays off of play action, and even 8 more first downs for Gardner-Webb. It's just that they couldn't convert there. It was just really hard and just a tough break there for Gardner-Webb, as their season will ultimately come to an end. Had a playoff potential coming into today, but not going to be the case after that close loss to Western Illinois.
All right, well, that is going to do it from today. 29-24, Western Illinois takes the win. Bryson, as we end this season, final thoughts.
I mean, first of all, fun job doing it with you. It was a fun year being here with Gardner-Webb, covering their football. And, man, what a good win here by Western Illinois. It's going to give them a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum going into next season as they hope to rebuild. Gardner-Webb, they're definitely going to have some talent and some potential down the future as well. Just a very, very tough way to end this season. But it's been a lot of fun this year. And, you know, even though they came up short, Gardner-Webb put on a good show this season, and you got to give really a round of applause to both teams here.
Saw a couple of the quarterbacks need to the highlights to end this one. 29-24 is your score this afternoon. So this will take us for the final time in this football season as we move forward with basketball here on the other side. So from CJ Carpenter, Connor Gilchrist, Bryson Burns, I'm Ford Martin, and our entire ESPN Plus production staff this season, we thank you for joining us for some college football. 29-24 your score. Western Illinois takes the win from Boiling Springs.